Here we are, at it again, doing one of the things I'm sure everyone loves for me to be doing. A live stream. But this ain't no ordinary live stream. This is me hopping on a bandwagon. I mean... Okay, yeah, let's face it, that's exactly what it is. Well, today on this live stream we shall be reviewing Spider-Man: Far From Perfect. Just kidding. I think the movie's still alright. Now once we get into the gameplay, we can talk about the spoiler section immediately. This movie's been out for like a month. It's about high time I... Huh. Okay, that's something. Sorry, I'm looking at this article about a, quote, bionic actress goes viral for Star Wars cosplay, complete with a lightsaber arm. That's kind of cool. In fact, that is really cool. Alright. So, let's actually not get into spoilers right away, because that'll alienate everybody, especially those who have not seen this movie yet.
Parker, where are you? The committee will be here soon. We need to run an equipment
Now,
check.
starting off,
I'm almost there.
the effects in this movie, for the most part, were fantastic.
No, don't.
And a real step
It's
up
not
from,
safe.
well, Civil War's Spider-Man, because as much as I love how sleek
love
the
Doc's
suit looked, that was,
enthusiasm,
you could
but
tell that was
sometimes
just
it
a
gets them into
CGI
trouble.
character.
Better get there before he hurts himself.
Although I do wish they wouldn't CGI over the suit all the time, it seems like there's less of that in this movie. I mean, that's a big complaint with Homecoming, actually. They just kind of CGI'd all over this really beautiful suit. To the point where most of the time it doesn't even wrinkle and crinkle and do things that fabric does. Things that you can see artists draw in the comics sometimes, you know? But there is one part where the CG just looks, like, terrible, but the visuals are awesome. I'm sure you've all heard about it, because, you know, this movie's been out for, like, most of this month. The scene with Mysterio doing Mysterio's thing and making Spider-Man trip out. Why am I doing this on a New Game Plus mode? Why did I decide to do that? Okay. So yeah, he makes him trip out and freak out and such, and it's great. But the CGI looks like it's from 2005. I mean, you ever see some effects that look great for the time, but don't age well? Well, the CGI in that reminds you of Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 when he's swinging in front of those people in the train to get back outside to fight Doc Ock. Like, most of the CGI in that movie is great, but that one part just... ew. Ew, it looks awful. Get it away. But yeah, other than that, the movie has some great effects.
I'm sorry I'm late.
And the suit designs are pretty good. I mean, most of them are reused, but the new suit looks stellar, honestly.
You started without me.
And
Grant
the
Committee's director will
romantic
be here soon.
subplot with Happy and Aunt May is hilarious,
It's fine, Parker. I
honestly.
invented this equipment. I think I
Bet
can
and Peter is very not okay with this, which also makes it even funnier.
Power damper.
Also, I do love it how Peter's love rival for MJ in this movie was some obscure guy she dated in the comic books for like one issue.
Maybe we should.
I think I know what issue. I can't remember the exact number, but I'm pretty sure Peter... They were on like a boat or something. Right? Don't ask me why. I don't remember. It's been a while.
Another setback.
That and seeing Ned Leeds and Betty Brant get together was pretty nice to see, considering how those two were married in the comics before Ned became brainwashed into believing he was the Hobgoblin and got assassinated. Like you do.
Is anyone hurt?
No, it was all my fault.
The energy levels exceeded our expectations. From a certain viewpoint, that's a very positive development.
It doesn't smell very positive.
I assure you, in
Something
the next
about
phase.
that
Let's
woman
not get ahead of
intrigues
ourselves.
me.
Is there somewhere else we can discuss this?
Maybe you should take the rest of the day off, Peter.
Okay, but that's
We'll
neither here
talk
nor
later.
there. Now that we've got that out of the way and we've touched upon things... Oh wait, another thing in the non-spoiler section. Hasbro, get your shit together. Do you know how hard it was for me to find a Spider-Man Far From Home figure? I found one in a GameStop after 2 weeks of searching, and then by the time I got the money to buy him, he was gone. So I've just ordered him off of the internet. Like you do. Also, kudos to the people who actually have a fair price for that guy. Seriously. You have no idea how much he saved my behind, and time for me to also go buy a second one so I can go make a custom I wanted to do. Which, by the way, remind me, I gotta make a video that goes over quite a few customs that I've made in recent months. So I guess I gotta go do that.
Okay, need to reroute servo.
Well, I'm thinking about this. Why don't I go send this a video to everyone, especially my friends that have not seen this movie yet. Let's go see a Spider-Man Far From Home review as it's live.
Nice. Okay.
Alright, enough with this shitty Clone High JFK impression. Just let me do this. This might take a second or two, so enjoy the gameplay. No one's watching, no one's listening. It's fine. It's all fine. And honestly, if anyone joins and they look back for some reason, some ungodly reason, please do feel free to ask me about anything in the movie or anything in the movie that might have a better explanation in the comics or you think is based off of something, because most likely I'll know what you're talking about. Just be kind of specific. Just don't say something like, hey, what was that one thing that Mysterio did that might have been from the comics, because I'd just be like, bruh. Like, really? Alright. So. I don't know what to do anymore. Let's just end the stream and start over. Just kidding. Let's talk about the writing, actually. I think the writing in this movie, for the most part, is pretty good. And a lot of the jokes hit. Some kind of fall flat, but others that are like... How do I put this? Like, there's a scene with Peter's teacher, and he's talking about how in, like, the Snap, which is now called the Blip. Yeah, that sounds so much better, doesn't it? His wife pretended to die. They had a funeral and everything, only for her to run off with another man. Like, that is funny and all, but that is also the most tragic thing I think I've ever heard in my entire life. His wife faked her death just to get away from him. Oof. Oh, that is so bad.
Finished.
Not to mention the other teacher in the movie, the African-American one. I'm sorry, I don't know what he teaches. I feel like he's the gym teacher, but he was always talking about how things are scientific, so I'm guessing he's a science teacher. Then again, I don't know what Amadeus Cho is teaching. Yeah, that's something you guys won't get unless you saw that Hulk movie no one watched.
Let's see if that worked.
So, getting into the spoiler section, our movie starts off with Maria Hill and Samuel L. Blackman. Sorry, that was messed up. It's fine, I'm not racist, I'm black. You're racist for saying I'm racist, because black people cannot be racist, remember? Even though every racist opinion I've learned from members of my family on my mom's side. Okay, that's a little too real, isn't it?
Grant review.
Okay, so it starts with Maria Hill and Nick Fury in some Spanish country. I don't want to say it's Mexico, because that'd be racist. I'm pretty sure it was in, like, somewhere in South America. I have no idea where. And if I'm completely wrong about that, I'm sorry. But they're getting to talking about how some storm ravished the region. Oh great, this thing didn't send. That's how wonderful. How absolutely wonderful. But the thing is about the storm, things weren't right with the storm. Nick Fury points out the fact that it has a face. Like, Maria Hill's like, I don't really want to be here, man. Oh, hold on. I'm just gonna text this. Sorry. welcome, the one person. Today we're reviewing Spider-Man Far From Home, and you just got in at the right minute to hear about the spoilers. So welcome, and please, do comment and ask me what the hell I'm going on about, and Mugman, why do you even try, 'cause you suck, and no one watches your videos. So, yeah, Maria Hill doesn't want to be there, because I guess it's hot, and it's a freaking desert, which is understandable. Hey man, where I live, it's pretty hot right now, and I don't really like going outside, especially not in a skin-tight red and blue suit. Unlike New York, there isn't really much of a breeze going around in Baltimore. And there's some trivia for you with the James Cameron Spider-Man script. But I'm the Spider-Man of Baltimore.
Our boy qualifies for the VIP treatment.
But, yeah. So Nick Fury points out that there's something weird about this storm that ravaged the region. It had a face, and Maria Hill's like, yeah, well, people see things and fear all the time. Yeah, like when your adrenaline's pumping, you see some darkened figure in the corner of your room with glowing yellow eyes. The problem is it wasn't that at all. It was actually Ultimate Carnage, and he killed you. So shut up, Maria Hill.
Looks like Jameson's
I'd have to say, do you think Nick Fury would be out here if this were something normal? Not to mention, hey, one viewer, if you have a YouTube account, can you comment? Tell me, have you ever seen a face in a storm? I mean, I could think of like this one photo of this weird, massive humanoid shape, and I think another photo of like a weird skull face in a storm, but that's all I can remember. But as they're talking about this, a giant sandy man appears, and it's not Sandman. It's an elemental, whose name I don't remember, because it's weird. I don't recall them actually being named in the movie. So, well, they're shooting at it, and of course their bullets do nothing, because it's Sandman. We've learned from Spider-Man 3. Bullets do not work on sand. Don't try it. Just run. Jake Gyllenhaal in a Spider-Man costume appears to replace Tobey Maguire. Just kidding. He appears in a weird green suit. And while they're standing around like, what the hell, he says, you don't want any part of this, and blasts it with a green energy blast of some sort. And then, Spider-Man Far From Home flashes on screen, and like the Amazing Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man has not been seen up to this point. But it's a Spider-Man movie. So then, after an intro, you know, set to the Spider-Man Homecoming theme, but it's Far From Home remix, which sounds still like about the same, but like the drums are slightly different in some parts. Well, not really even like the drums, like the tune. Instead of like do 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 do, it's more like do 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 do. It's a minor difference. But at the same time, I can appreciate it not having a completely different, like, movie theme that sounds weird. Kind of takes me back to the Sam Raimi days and the slight variations of, you know, the music. Maybe I should have talked about the music before getting into the spoiler section. Yeah, this is what happens when you don't have a script. Okay. So, Peter and Ned are in class talking about this trip, which I'm not sure if this is a summer trip, a spring break trip. I honestly don't remember. Nor do I remember it actually being stated. But it's a school trip. I mean, hey man, I would not want to go on a summer school trip. I don't care if I really like, I really like my high school, but I really wouldn't want to waste my summer doing a school-related thing. I'd want to be out with my friends, watching movies, like what I did. It's how I saw Homecoming. Me and my bros went out. We were missing one, though. I think he was down in Florida, or Myrtle Beach or something at the time. So I'm there with some of my best friends, and one of my best friend's brother. But, yeah, it was still a fun time. So Peter and Ned are talking about, you know, the trip, and Peter's like, I got a plan, and if you saw the movie trailers, and if you, what the hell, did my lenses just slide into my neck in this costume, or am I just hallucinating? Okay, I knew that fighting Mysterio today would have some adverse effects. It's kind of why I decided to do this review, because I had a run with my own Mysterio. There's nothing like the comic books. He wears like one of those white opera masks or something.
Do it.
In like a suit. It's really boring.
Watch my back.
But I suppose it's a bit more intimidating than Bubble Brain. And my one viewer left. Great, 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 great. So Ned tells him, hey man, don't have a plan. Because if you have a plan, you're probably going to screw it up. Something you got to learn about relationships. Just don't go anything to a plan. Be spontaneous. Depending on how that works for you. Some guys that might work with them, because if you're like spontaneous and you are kind of awkward, perhaps maybe the girl will like you for your awkwardness and boyish charm. That's if you have that going for you. If you're pretty hot, but not in the conventional way like myself, yeah, it's not gonna work for you too well. But then again,
Okay, wrapped up.
I haven't been out actively searching for girls. When I got girlfriends, they found me.
Your favorite tough but lovable grizzled too much detective.
Okay, maybe it does work, but that's not important.
No. You promised
The important thing is there's a short in this movie, well, like a short mini movie they're gonna put on the Blu-ray release that I guess I'll have to buy because I want to see it, because it's not in the movie. And you saw a whole bunch of clips of it in the trailers, which is kind of shitty that it was left out and still kept in the trailers, though. I got to see Spider-Man going around in, you know, the Iron Spider suit, fighting the Magia. Which makes me wonder, does he come across Hammerhead? That would be pretty cool. In fact, that would be really cool. But yeah, like, Peter's done all these things that you'll see in the mini-movie. Like, he brought a two-pronged headphone jack, so he could go watch movies with MJ on the plane. And how do I say that does not work out? So, you know, they get to the airport, there's some shenanigans. Flash is trying to drink some alcohol, and he makes fun of Peter. Then MJ's like, hey, airport's an air stewardess. He was wished away in the blip. He's not 21. I mean, he's 21, but he's got the body of a 16-year-old. So she takes away his alcohol. Which, in my opinion, if I lost 5 years of my life, please let me drink. You have no idea what the hell I'm going through. And frankly, I'd rather drink away my frustrations, because talking about it to anybody would make me sound crazy. That, and when I have problems in real life, only my friends and, like, my brother and dad want to hear about it. Thing is, I don't see them on a daily basis. Everyone I do never cares. Oof, okay, that's gotten really dark. Okay. So, Peter since he was sitting next to Ned originally, he's like, hey Ned, can you find a way to get yourself moved so then I can sit next to MJ? And he tells the teacher, like, hey man, Peter's trying to move, like, over there where Liz and...
All clear, ma'am.
Not Liz, shit, sorry. Where Betty Brant and Mary Jane are, because he's got perfume allergies. And then he's like, okay, don't worry, I got you. And he moves Peter near him, and he's all like, well, man, I have perfume allergies too. Thank you for letting me know about this.
Just in case,
and he gets to talking about the wife, and I told you about that.
They got the best cakes in the
Oh,
city,
his
hands
wife
down.
left him and pretended to be
Mom
blipped
used to make
away.
those. Haven't had any.
Oh, you run off with another guy,
Long
like,
time.
dude.
I'll check it out.
Look,
Thanks.
he might be the
Spider
most
guy.
boring guy I've ever seen.
Spider-Man.
But the guy,
be able to spot the
he's
next
not
tower from up there.
unattractive. Like, damn, and his wife just go. I left. I faked my death. That must have been really difficult at family reunions, because I'm sure his wife's side of the family would still be there. You know, right? And if they knew, they don't tell him. Like, God,
Are you
damn, that is terrible.
What?
Oh, God. Oh, man.
The chief never
Oh,
did understand.
I'm sorry. I swear I wasn't laughing this much in the theater. I might have been chuckling like an idiot, though. Ugh. Okay, what, do I really need to get on top of this thing just to fix it?
Bet I can modify these towers to track more than just crimes.
Yeah, there we go, a tower.
Score.
Okay, check
Towers are picking up all kinds of RFID signals now,
out.
including one nearby.
Alright,
What's that?
let's go find a backpack. Just remember, if this were not the New Game Plus, if you find all 50 of those, you get that suit I was just wearing. Which, a guy named Channel Pup, I don't know if you've seen him, says, like, maybe that those clothes were, like, some of Uncle Ben's clothes or something, and he wears them as Spider-Man because Like in the first movie, Uncle Ben's barely mentioned other than Peter's suitcase. Oh crap, I missed the bit in the airport. I'm sorry. This is more disjointed than the actual review that I didn't feel like editing to make it more coherent. Well, in the airport, there is that bit where he's with that...
How many of these are scattered around the city?
Oh, no, that comes later when they actually land. Never mind. I'm not crazy. So, you know, he moves... Seems Betty is next to Ned, and they bond over video games and movies. You know how it is. Your best friend is getting some when your whole plan was, you know, to get you some, but instead he's getting some. Like, you know how it is. We all know how it is. The plan backfires, and somehow your best friend benefits from it. Like, you can't really be mad, because it's unforeseen. It would be different if this were your best friend and he was hitting on the girl you were trying to get with, but it's not that at all. He's getting a completely different girl. However, that guy, Brad, who apparently you knew when he was like a kid or something in middle school, I don't know how. I don't know how their school works, if it's a middle school and high school. If it is, that sucks. But, yeah. Brad seems to be getting closer with MJ, and Brad's doing, Peter's plan, in essence, of watching movies with her with a double headphone jack. While Peter has to deal with his teacher. And there is a bit on the plane when Peter's in the bathroom, about to leave. So he sits MJ, goes back in, cleans everything up, and then it's Brad. I mean... That's still kind of... I mean, there's a lot of the everyman aspect of Spider-Man lacking, but I feel like we've all done something like that. I know for a fact that sort of thing probably has and will happen to me in my lifetime. Oh wait, that guy is just out. Alright. It's funny, because I'm going to be in this suit, which is... It makes a cameo in the movie, in the apartment when Peter's, you know, packing. But for some... I get it, he didn't want to bring a suit with him, and I guess the classic suit was the one suit he really... Aunt May could have put in his suitcase and all, but... You know, like, of all the things, wouldn't this be the much better thing to have? And you couldn't, like, when you realized shit was hitting the fan, you couldn't have Happy bring it to you? Oh, wait, that's right, yeah, I'll get into that later. So, you know, they land. They're in Venice. And, you know, they're enjoying the scenery. And it's almost like, hey, Venice, are you sinking into the ocean? So I'm pretty sure there'd been a storm there or something, and like their hotel that they go in is halfway flooded, and there is just a cat on a table meowing like, somebody please help me. I'm like, oh, poor kitty. I like cats. Somebody please help this cat. Because, you know, they got the really shit motel to save money. Public school. You're a waste. You are a waste of my tax dollars.
I'm so sorry I screwed things up.
Not at all, Peter.
Unless we're talking about Howard County, which then you are most certainly not a waste, but hey, you think you could share the wealth. We've got really sad city schools that are probably the worst in the nation, like the absolute worst.
Back to creating the future.
Seriously. Guys, help me become a millionaire actor. For the love of God, I need to invest in my home city. Because no one else seems to like Baltimore all that much. I might live in the surrounding counties, I won't say which one. But I'm just saying, I was born in a hospital in that city. And that city's still a major port city, but there's like one good area I could think of, and everything else kind of sucks. And even in some of the lesser areas, there's good places. An Italian deli my family's been shopping at for 70 to 100 years. In this city! If you know which one it is, please do comment it down below. I might have actually mentioned it. In fact, I think I told a friend about it in high school, and then he eventually looked into it, and he was getting some Uber Eats, and he was spreading the word. Good old Steven. But that's not important. Back to regularly scheduled chaos. They're enjoying Venice, you know, getting photos of the beautiful scenery, and Pete tries to hit on MJ a little bit. But things start getting weird. Like, Venice kind of floods, and if you've seen the Eighth Doctor's... Like, well, you wouldn't see him, you'd listen to him. The audio dramas. Venice is kind of sinking into the ocean. Scientists could probably think of a way to fix it, but they're not going to. No one can be bothered. Just kind of letting it happen. But this isn't that. There's a big water monster that appears. And here's a bit I really love. Peter's still trying to low-key do the Spider-Man thing while out of his costume. Like, he doesn't even really care if some people on the other side of the world know who he is, even though, you know, that could still screw him over. Like, it made me think of that's Ultimate Spider-Man. Like, Miles Morales would have done that. Ultimate Peter most certainly would have done that. Mr. Fighting Venom in the Rain. At your darn high school. Oh, man, you messed up my combo right as I was about to achieve 10.
And no more mugging.
You suck.
Love a happy ending.
If I could throw something at you. Damn it, I missed you. I'm gonna get you with this one, I swear. Nope, guess not. Okay. So Peter's swinging, and then Tobey Maguire's replacement shows up. I'm just gonna keep making that joke, aren't I? Yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio shows up and is trying to stop Hydro Man. Or as I'm just gonna refer to him as the Water Monster because it's not technically Hydro Man. At all. And he's like, he goes to him and he's like, please sir, I got real sticky, I got real sticky powers, I'm here to help, and I got these webs. It's like, you save the civilians. And that's after Peter put on like an opera-style jester mask or something, because, you know, he needs a mask. I was like, I would've just said, look man, I'm Spider-Man, I don't have my costume, how can I help? But then again, debatably, I'd have more... well, actually, no, Mysterio was handling himself like a pro, so maybe he does have more experience when you get down to it. But as Nick Fury will later say, bitch please, you've been to outer space, you fought aliens and Thanos, so at this point, you really shouldn't be acting like you're just a dumb kid from Queens. I almost said from Brooklyn. Wrong Spider-Man. Completely wrong Spider-Man. Okay, so, you know, Peter helps him. They defeat Hydro Man. As well, Peter and the other guys get back to, you know, the hotel after the shenanigans. They're all discussing what the hell just happened. Which, yeah, I'd do too, in all fairness. There's a lot of... that's fairly weird for a big water monster to show up. Well, actually not as weird considering all the things these kids have seen. And, you know, getting snapped out of reality. Yeah, for some reason, all of Peter's friends have been snapped out of reality. I mean, I guess aside from Brad, he's older now. I mean, I remember somebody was saying, like, wow, that takes away some of the emotional stakes when you don't have to worry about what happened to Peter's friends because they all got snapped away. Aside from Brad. Apparently, when your friends get snapped away, aside from you, it leads to some, romantical issues. Think romantical thoughts. But yeah, Flash is like, this Mysterio guy is not as cool as Spider-Man. And you're like, what's up with your love with Spider-Man? It's like, well, he's a good guy, he looks after the neighborhood, and all that. And then Peter walks in and has his arms folded, and he's like, what's up, dickwad? Like, I thought Penis Parker was pretty funny, I thought Puny Parker was pretty good. Just calling him dickwad out of the blue. It actually is pretty funny. Am I missing a guy? Nope. Nope, I'm not. Damn
Vintage
it.
crime stopping right there.
I'm sensing a pattern here.
If I was a cop,
So, Peter, as he's talking with Ned about how he's like, hey man, I'm gonna still do this thing, I'm gonna... Actually, I think he already bought the necklace at this point, but he's gonna buy a necklace that relates to some dark story or poem MJ likes, because this version of MJ is dark and edgy. You know, she's not a smiling actress. And I don't know what my mom's saying, but I'm in the basement recording something! I don't know what you're talking about, Ma! I hate being a college student. Except I'm not even a college student yet, I'm about to be a freshman. Or am I? Or am I about to be a sophomore? Yeah, I might have just said too much. Okay, so... yeah, they walk into their room in this crappy motel in Italy, and Ned's like, I remember when I first fell in love, which happened like a day ago. Only for him to get shot with a dart. And Nick Fury, who had been ghosted. Like, there was a scene in the beginning of the movie where Peter, in the classic suit, was doing his thing. and doing this, like, charity thing for people affected by the blip with Aunt May, because I guess Aunt May, like her comics counterpart, is all about charity and helping
Looks
people,
like Doc's gone for the night.
and does not seem to be really
Time to sneak in some
pissed
spider
or,
work.
like, upset that her, you know,
trying to
surrogate son
improve
is
the
going around in a
prosthetics
skin-tight red and blue suit risking his
Should
life.
review what Doc's been developing.
She actually seems
Double
rather
check some
proud
more.
of him. It's like the Ultimate Universe, except I'm pretty sure even she worried a bit more. Yeah, it's
Doc
kind
was
of
trying
cheating
to
when you just skip
improve the
these.
actuator's
But,
granularity. Nice.
yeah,
Super smooth response.
from that
See
point,
if we can
Nick Fury had
tune
been
the
trying to
prosthetics
contact him, and he's
workforce.
just been ghosting Nick Fury. And as Happy said, you don't ghost Nick Fury.
That's better.
So Nick Fury comes
Should
to
avoid
him.
bone crushing. Interesting.
Yes, of all the people to
Doc's
come to, he
hardwiring
comes
in
to
that
the
basic
guy
spatial
who
mechanism.
seems to have the least amount of
Arms will have a
experience.
sense of the-
And Nick
need
Fury
to
will probably be
tune
the first to
arms
tell you, I
gyro
think
to
you have the
auto-orient.
least amount of experience. So why'd you come to me? And Peter's even
Really
like, why
help
don't you
use
call,
Doc's
like,
training to lower the
Thor?
overall
He's
power
off-world.
consumption of the prosthetic.
Falcon, I don't know. I guess he's Captain America
more
now.
efficient.
Hopefully he's not a socialist like in the
safer, too.
comics. But I don't know why you don't call him. I don't know, I guess because he doesn't
We
really
really
have the
need to get
super
better about
soldier
organizing
serum and
our
is a
workspace.
mortal
The
man.
I think we've got samples of every type of prosthetic in existence.
But yeah, he calls upon
Doc's
Spider-Man.
made huge breakthroughs his whole career.
And he's like,
He's always been upstaged.
I really don't want to go.
Usually by
But he's
Oscorp.
like, we're going anyway.
This time,
It's
it's going to be
very,
different.
very important. Get your suit on. It's like, what about my friend Ned? Well, we'll roll him over so he doesn't swallow his own tongue or something. I don't even know if that's actually what could really happen, but it's probably true. It's Nick Fury. It's Samuel L. Jackson.
Dr. Octavius.
He's probably right.
What you got there?
So they
Chinese?
go to somewhere
you'd be
in
here,
Venice, some secret
working
thing
on?
under
Oh,
like a
just a side
bridge or
project?
something, you know, because there's just so many secret places to hang out in Venice. I mean, there must be. The Daleks did it in that Eighth Doctor story,
It's
I
you.
guess. I mean, they were kidnapping
I don't know what
things
you're
or doing. I
Parker,
don't
it's
remember that
obvious.
story too
If
well. I don't remember the
we
review. I
explain
never
how
actually
we
had
should
the
tell me
chance to
sooner.
listen to it. I can't
wanted
pay for Big Finish. I'm a
But
broke
I
college
was afraid
student
that if
in a
word
few
got out,
days,
my family might be in danger.
like a month.
Yes.
So,
guess
you
if
know,
you
he goes in,
resign,
he
you
has
just
his
admit
mask off like
you're
an
bound to be a
idiot. I
target,
mean,
too.
that
Yeah.
mask that he had didn't really conceal much.
Yeah.
What's up, Extra?
Don't worry.
I'm here
Yes, you could
reviewing
say.
Far From Home, as you could probably tell by the title. Got any questions or comments? I mean,
I'll
if it's
leave you to
something
it.
about the plot, I'll get to it when the time comes, but any general things, I'm here. Or if I forget to mention something, help out, please. That would be really nice of you. So, yeah, he gets introduced to Tobey Maguire's replacement, who was going to be Spider-Man in Spider-Man 2 until Tobey Maguire's back was okay enough for him to actually, you know, film things, because he suffered a back injury. Poor Tobey. Like, that actually could have been really serious. So Jake Gyllenhaal, man, is Mystery Man. Actually, that's the thing. He's like, what's your name? And he's like, my friends call you Mysterio, or something. And then he actually takes that as his name, and Peter like kind of looks at him with a bit of a smirk, and he winks to him. He's like, "Yeah, it's a cool name. Yeah, I'm gonna keep that. That's pretty good." Probably should have saved this suit until much later, but let's face it, it's one of the coolest things in the movie. Gotta love the red and black. Very Amazing Fantasy issue 15. Complete with a logo that isn't red, actually. Come to think of it, here's some obscure history. Spider-Man's costume was originally, you know, like the classic we see, except the back spider had like a head on it,
Spider-Man, I think I figured out
And
how
it was blue.
his rackets running.
and this was all black.
Wasn't that shut down when he was
I'm
arrested?
pretty sure Untold Tales of Spider-Man got the costume right, but eventually switched it to the red later on,
We can't act without
showing that there
law.
was some kind of progression, like he had
right?
that suit for way longer,
That's why I'm
which is
hoping you
cool
can
and
keep
all,
an eye
but
on the
I wish
location.
that suit gets more
Tell me
love.
if you see anything
In fact, I
suspicious.
wish it was in the
Got it.
game, more so
I'll
than
be
the
your
vintage
nosy
comic book
neighborhood
suit was just a reskin of the classic suit. But that's neither here nor there. So Nick Fury and the others, including this guy named Dimitri, he is man of few words, are discussing these elementals. And now he's like, I've destroyed the sand guy. You and me, Peter, we destroyed the water guy. Who people are thinking is a Maury Vench who kind of disappeared after falling off of a boat. But no, it's just this thing. Although, now I'm wondering, could Maury Vench become a real Hydro Man later? Yo, wouldn't that be cool if that plays a role in the sequel? Which I will discuss later, because I have big plans for a fan-made continuation that I might make in a stop-motion series. But wait, like, imagine that, like, you know, I actually I'll get into it because spoilers. It comes later. Much later. Oh, God. Oh, you were underneath the train. I thought you guys were on top. I didn't even look around. Okay. Okay, what do I got to do to get... Okay. Objects and enemies. Gotcha. Alright. There we go. Now I'll get all 3 of those tokens I don't use. So then Nick Fury and the guys are like, look, Parker, we need your help, because this fire guy is supposed to be really powerful. And, you know, Pete's like, why don't you call on the remaining Avengers or all those other guys? Like, they're all kind of doing their own thing. What about Captain Marvel? And he's like, don't you speak her name! Maybe Nick Fury read the comics and realized she is a fascist. And before you say, Mugman, that's so sexist. Look, man, I love a strong, you know, heroic female. Like somebody cool, like Ahsoka Tano, Mara Jade. Every version of the heroes in the comics up until, like, 2015, when they all kind of became the samey, all thinking that they're all so perfect and woke just because they're writing a female hero. You gotta do more than that. These characters used to have a lot more depth and were awesome because of it. Aside from Miss Marvel / Captain Marvel, she was always kind of boring to me. Everyone else, though, was awesome. But yeah, like Captain Marvel movie, Brie Larson, it's kinda, your portrayal is kind of wooden. And before you say, I'm just an evil, straight white male, well, I'll have you know, I might be straight and I might be male, but I'm not all the way white. I'm a mutt. Come on, man, I'm American. Of course I'm a mutt. Okay, the same kind of thing. But enough about my hatred of politics, because, you know, I get tired of this crap. Especially when it impacts my superhero comics. Just screams open fire. So, they're like, Parker, we need your help. Because reasons, and because, well, no one else is available. He's like, but I'm just a kid from Queens. And Nick Fury's like, bitch, please, you've been to space. I haven't been to space. Except he probably has. And if you've seen the movie, you know. Yes, he has.
Probably better if I'm not here when the cops arrive.
So Peter's like, wait, I'm on this trip, and we're going... It's like, we want to stay in Venice, and this thing's happening in Prague. We can't go to Prague. Oh, I'll make sure you get to Prague. So he's going to hijack their vacation and make them go to Prague at a great motel. Well, no, not a great motel, a great hotel. Like you do, because Nick Fury is also a cool guy when you don't know that's the reason why you got better accommodations. It's really, the teacher thinks it's because he was yelling at the tour people because they gave him such crappy crap for the price they paid. Which probably was not cheap to go send, like, a classroom's worth of students to Venice, Italy. Whether that be in the spring or in the summer. Yeah. So Peter's like, you know, I don't want to do this whole thing in Spider-Man. So he's like, don't worry, I got you covered, buddy. I got you real good. And there's just a crime on this college campus. I swear to God. Are y'all trying to go hit on drunken females? You just leave those poor women alone. They've already drank way too much and are puking on the walls of my dorm. Can't you just leave them be? By the way, I gotta go clean up that vomit. That's neither here nor there. So, Peter goes into this room because Dimitri, who was the guy who was driving them on the bus... No, wait, I'm skipping a few things. Sorry, I'm doing this from memory. My memory's not the greatest. So, Peter puts on Edith glasses that Tony Stark gave him and almost kills Brad with a drone strike. But he distracts them with goats on a mountain, jumps out from the top of the bus, which was open, webs the drone and, like, destroys it. And then falls right back down, and no one knew. No one noticed. Because that's just how quick he is. And I think that was proper Spider-Man awesomeness. Oh, impact loading. But, you know, awesome. The part where he almost kills his romantic rival, that's not cool. Although, you know, him jumping out of that and being super quick is Spider-Man-y enough, I guess. No, Peter being apprehensive to put the suit on after all the crap he's been through also seems very Spider-Man-like. Like, I don't know if he has PTSD per se, and that's why he really doesn't. Because, you know, at this point, having these powers have gotten his uncle killed, except we don't know for a fact. I mean, there's an Uncle Ben, but we don't know if that's how he got killed or why or whatever. And then again, that scene in Civil War says, yeah, probably. That's probably how it happened. So having these powers got his uncle killed. His replacement mental figure. His male parental... his pseudo-male parental figure is dead. So at this point, yeah, just trying to have a vacation and live a normal life outside of being Spider-Man. Or at least have a summer trip that's just normal. Yeah, that's understandable. I can see that. I mean, I've had my struggles with keeping on the tights too, kiddo. It ain't easy. It ain't easy being Spidey. At all. Especially when you try to keep to the shadows in a skin-tight red and blue suit. That is not good for stealth purposes at all and gets shot a lot. I need a cloth black suit because I do not trust the symbiotes at all. Oh wow, they see me. Okay. So they get to Prague, and they are in a really fancy hotel. Like, I am so jealous. I mean, other than the hotel I had my prom in, I don't think I've seen such a great hotel. That, and I'm pretty sure a lot of these foreign hotels are a lot nicer than our American hotels, and hopefully they clean the sheets, because, you know, after somebody just rented a hotel room to go do the dirty with a prostitute he hired, they don't really clean them. They just let it dry and hope it doesn't leave a stain. If it stains, maybe they'll clean it. Yes, I know it's disgusting. I know it's probably a health hazard, especially with, you know, all the diseases going around, but hey, who cares? I'm not getting the disease. My guests are. God, that is messed up. Forgive me. I seem to care more about quality over quantity, and quality of my stay at a hotel or anyone else's stay at a hotel, rather than for the sake of cheapness and we can get more people in this room as soon as possible. That, and just have backup sheets, you ninnies. Just put those in the washing machines and then change your bed. It does not take that long to change a bed. You know, put some new bed linens on. New comforter, new fitted sheet, all that good stuff. I could do it in like 7 minutes. Especially when I'm not procrastinating. God. Yeah, please, let me activate my suit power while I'm all the way over here. Thanks. Okay. So... oh, crap. Yeah, they make a pit stop before going to the hotel. And that's where Peter... well, that's where Dimitri tells him to go in, and Peter encounters this blonde woman, and she's like, take off your clothes. He's like, what? It's like, take off your clothes. It's like, I am really not comfortable with this. Like, Nick Fury said you needed a suit. So here is your suit. You don't want Spider-Man in here. It's like, oh, okay. And he's got his pants down. Then Brad comes in and takes a photo. You know, he confronts Brad about it. He's like, dude, what the hell? And he's like, look, man, I like MJ too. And this, you shacking up with random woman, that's fine. But I'm not going to let you hurt MJ. And to an extent, I'm with Brad, but I know the context. And I'm like, no. But I also wouldn't take a photo of, no, wait, the buzz bit happened after that. Crap. So he was trying to delete the thing from Brad's phone, which seemed to be deleted anyway, but he almost kills Brad with a drone strike. Because he's kind of incompetent with using Stark Tech. Which is fine, because, you know, he is a 15-year-old, 16-year-old kid. Well, mainly more like 20 because of the 5 years that he lost. They're still kind of, sort of, you know, I mean, hey, on my driver's license it ought to say I'm 21, even if I'm still got those restrictions from when I'm a kid. It's fine by me. Okay. But yeah, it doesn't exactly come with a user manual, does it? So, the thing gets deleted anyway, so that stifles Brad's plan of being, honestly, really creepy. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't go take a photo of some romantic rival with his pants down to go show the girl we both like.
And someone finally reported shots fired, so I've got officers inbound.
What if she actually really likes the both of us? Oh, wow, I did not do good at all. I am going to retry this immediately.
Sites throughout the city, vetting their fronts too. Keep an eye out.
Okay.
And report in if you see any.
If I'm gonna find all of Fisk's construction sites, I should recalibrate my mapping software to be more accurate.
So, yeah. Peter, they go to the hotel. It's great. Peter tries to, goes to an opera because, like, he's like, hey, Ned, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to go get everyone, like, out of the hotel and out of the way. And Ned's like, alright, man, I got it. It's like, the teacher wants to go to an opera. It's like, hey, let's all go. It'll be great.
Lenny says there's more than one Spider-Man.
And he's there, and MJ's there, and he's like, they have like a bit of some flirting, and Brad's like, he's trying to steal my woman. Maybe this would be a good time to show her that photo I don't have anymore. Crap.
Sweet dreams.
I'm in an ass-kicking mood. I got a funny feeling. Let's get some of the boys.
So, Peter's like, I'm gonna go grab the opera glasses, and he leaves and gets into this stealth suit to go help Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterious Man. To go stop the elementals that destroyed his universe and killed his family, or at least all that sob story bullcrap. You know how it is. It's like, God, a bunch of creatures destroy your dimension, and suddenly you're just the whiniest baby. You know? I mean, it happens every other week to somebody in some dimension, I swear. But it's neither here nor there. So Peter gets in his suit and gets in his ready position, waiting for this flaming, massive thing I thought was honestly going to be actually Molten Man, until I saw the, movie and heard about all the elemental shenanigans. Like, I was really hoping we'd see Liz again. Like, yeah, we moved to Europe, my wife married, it's like, failed. My mom married some guy named Alan. Please, you guys gotta help me. He's my stepbrother. He's really cool. I don't know what happened to him, but no, he's just a mindless creature, really, and the most powerful mindless creature. And I think Beck said was, like, the elementals destroyed my reality, but in your reality, they're new. This is a new thing. These aren't the same ones. So if I stop them here, you don't have to deal with them. And then, this is for my reality. Either that or they come from his reality, and they're less powerful now because they have to start from square one because it's a new game. Should have got the New Game Plus, right? So they fight the thing, and Ned and Betty also snuck out. And this is all during, like, some festival in Prague.
Anyone want to surrender? No?
So, yeah, they all these teenagers are snuck out. Like, these teachers are just the worst at keeping up with these kids. So Peter and Jake Gyllenhaal stop, not Molten Man, and, they also save Ned, and, like, Betty is smart, because she's like, holy crap, is that Spider-Man? It's like, no, I was actually reading up on this guy. He's, some European knockoff. He's called, like, Night Monkey or something. And they're like, Night Monkey, help us! And Peter's probably thinking to himself, God damn it, Ned, of all the things, you couldn't have said the Black Spider, the Black Acanthus Spider. That would have been a neat reference if he said that. The Black Widow. The Brown Widow. That would have been a really funny reference if that were the case. Venture Brothers. Okay, just gonna get this guy. Wait, I still got suit powers. If I don't get this guy, it's time for plan B. Come on, give me enough. Give me enough razor focus so I can just get this one last guy. Yes! Okay. That was way too high. Well, let's go get him. Let's make it quick. There! Much better. So, Jake Gyllenhaal suicides and/or dies mysteriously by going inside of Molten Man. Except he doesn't really die, but he does say it's like, for all it's worth, I'm glad I met you, and goes inside and actually survives.
Down, Captain.
Which I thought, well, that's a little contrived. It's like, I thought Mysterio was supposed to be a hero in here, but that makes me think that maybe he's not a hero, because if he were a hero, he would have just been dead and such. But then Peter, he's like, let's go get a drink. He's like, dude, I'm not 21. I mean, technically, from a certain standpoint, I am 21, but I'm still like, I got the body of a 16-year-old, 17-year-old. I'm not drinking. So I guess he gets a Shirley Temple when they go to a bar. And they talk, and, like, Peter lays down the whole you know, all this responsibility. Like, yeah, I had these great powers and these great responsibility, but now it's too much responsibility. And you're like, maybe you can be the next Iron Man, because that's who these glasses are for. And I think Mr. Stark would have trusted me to make this decision. So I'm going to shirk my responsibility, like Peter sometimes does in the comics, much to everyone's dismay. And I'm going to give it to you. Which always in the comics, it leads to bad. And I do mean bad shit happening. Happening. Okay, a little ASMR for you. Still gotta do that ASMR Spider-Man livestream I said I was gonna do as a joke. But now I might do it legitimately just to expand my borders to a bigger audience. So, Peter gives the Edith glasses to Beck. And then the bar fades away. Because this was not your average bar. It was an illusion! And, well, a bunch of people who've been wronged by Tony Stark in the Avengers. And that one guy who got yelled at by, Ironmonger. You know, the guy who got yelled at when Ironmonger's like, Tony Stark built that thing in a cave with scrap! That guy is there, and he's gonna be a major player. Yes, I know. The villains come from, previous things. It's a little contrived, but at the same time it kind of makes sense. It's like, I'd be mad too if Tony Stark took my holographic tech and then made it into, you know, Barf from Civil War. And won't even credit me. Like, fine, if he took all the proceeds and I got like a scrap, fine. But at least give me credit, damn it. God. Are we sure Tony Stark's a full hero? Like, I get it, his heart's in the right place, but as a businessman, he is a dick. So, in essence, a normal businessman. Boom, crash. Yeah, laugh track that I don't have. There we go. Good joke.
All units, witness reported an active
And so MJ and Peter get to talking. Like, he kind of just left Pete. What the hell? And unlike in like the anime series of comics where she's be like, we're done, she seems to like want to give him a chance because she's like, let's go for this walk and stuff. I'm pretty sure that's when he gives her the necklace, and he's like, MJ, I gotta tell you something.
Especially back alley, Big Pharma.
And she's like, what? He's like, well, I'm, and she's like, you're Spider-Man. He's like, no. It's like, look, Peter, you're always running off, and I'm looking into you for a little while, and you're always doing this crap, and it's a little weird. Like, how did you disappear from the bus in Infinity War? Except I don't think she actually mentioned that, but that's some valid stuff. How did he disappear from a bus when they're driving like 55 miles an hour on a bridge? Seriously. Also, Aunt May got snapped away too. I forgot to mention that bit. When Aunt May got snapped, she woke up and, well, she found herself in her apartment, but the family living there, they were all like, they didn't know who she was. The wife thought that she, like, I guess the kids might have thought she was a burglar, and the wife thought she was her husband's mistress. Oh, that's real bad. Boy, is it funny. Very funny. So they're walking around, and she's like, and also, Night Monkey, he's shooting these webs. She's like, I don't know, maybe he's a spider monkey. Yeah, okay. Well, here's this thing that has these webs on it. And they look a lot like Spider-Man's webs, and the thing goes off. A big, spooky, fake hologram thing. A cloud, a storm, with a face. They're like, did you see that? He's like, yeah, I saw it. It looks so real, and I think they turn it on again and then turn it off immediately. Like, oh my god. But it's like, I got this in the fight. And if you pay attention, Peter appears to web something invisible in the fight with Molten Man, which I guess was one of the projectors on the drones. So he's like, oh crap, I gotta go tell Nick Fury. And then it cuts back to Peter and MJ in the apartment. Ned walks in and he sees, you know, Peter and MJ, and Peter's halfway dressed in the stealth suit. He's like, Peter's in that for like a costume party. He's like, she knows. She's like, I know. He's like, oh. Okay, so you're one of us now. You're one of the Spider-Man friends. Spider-Man is amazing friends. Okay, cool. That's real cool. Because for a second there, pulls out gun. I thought I was going to have to use this. So Peter goes and swings off to go to the UN thing, because after they beat Molten Man, Nick Fury kind of like, congratulations, Beck. Why? He's like, I'm trying to form a new team since like half the heroes died in Endgame. Like, I could
That'll do.
use somebody like you
Map
at
should
the
be
UN
recalibrated.
thing with all these superheroes I might bring that are only
done
really
much
going to be you and
photography since
Peter.
quitting
If
the
you show
Bugle.
up, Parker,
God,
are you
how
going
much
to
I
step
enjoy it.
up? So then Peter decides to go. And he's still in the Night Monkey outfit. Like, he has
Mr. Lee. Hello?
his normal suit, I think. Either that or maybe it got destroyed in one of the attacks somewhere. But to my knowledge, he has his normal suit somewhere.
Oh, sure thing.
Either that or it later on got lost in Europe because no one ever claimed Peter's packaging. Or maybe it'll get back to him because Nick Fury's kind of nice like that,
Okay,
I
it's
suppose.
time to kill. Let's see what's happening out in the city.
So, yeah. He goes in the Night Monkey suit. He's gonna go with Nick Fury, but then there's an attack in the UN. Like, the scenery changes. It ain't the UN building. It's some, like, broken down, run down building. I tried to shoot a fan film in, but then couldn't because it got destroyed later on. Then that said building was near a mall. I'm sure only my friends know what I'm talking about. Okay, enough references to life that no one's gonna get unless they know me or know where I live and know the area and where I'm talking about. I mean, how many of my viewers are from Maryland? Considering most of you guys are probably people I've met in high school. Okay, yeah, probably all of you. Yeah, so Peter gets to trying to fight Beck, and Nick Fury seems to get taken out. And then insert the dream sequence here, with some cool, trippy visuals, like Spider-Man going from the Night Monkey suit to the Civil War suit. And then seeing a zombified Mr. Stark that tries to come after him, only to get put back in these red and blue suits, which, you know, this homemade suit. Not to mention, there's a great kind of pseudo-reference where Mysterio is on, like, a bridge in this sequence and has MJ. He's like, I know this is a trick back. It's like, are you willing to take that chance? Throws MJ. Peter still leaps after, but then lands on the ground like an idiot. And I think that's when he encounters zombie Mr. Stark, actually. But aside from, like, the really bad CGI parts in that, it's still pretty cool with the visuals. Like, there's that, you know, zombie Tony Stark. There's, like, a hallway of the school. There's, like, the bridge. But one of the best is, like, Peter's being, like, submerged in snow in a snow globe. And that snow globe is Mysterio's head. Like, that is awesome. And then, like, Mysterio is about to go kill him, and then Mysterio seems to get shot in the head. Also, I don't know how Jake Gyllenhaal would have done as a replacement for Tobey Maguire. Like, maybe he could have been a great Spider-Man, but he does not look anything like that. And maybe with makeup, they could make him look a bit more like Tobey Maguire, so it wouldn't be so jarring for why there'd be a different Spider-Man actor. But Jake Gyllenhaal, like, this is like 15 years after he was almost Spider-Man. He still looks good. Really handsome. Not trying to be gay or anything. No offense to any homosexuals, but I'm not. But, like, the guy still looks good. For a guy who's, like, probably pushing 40 is what I'm saying. Then again, 40's like the new, like, 25, so there's that. So, yeah. When he shows up and gets shot by Nick Fury, I'm pretty sure he's not even in the full suit. He's just kind of a guy with a dome over his head and two drones projecting things. Only for him, you know, get shot. Nick Fury's like, look, man, I know you told somebody, so who'd you tell? We can get them in the witness protection or something, because there's probably a lot of people involved in this charade. You think only one guy can do all the things he did? And he's like, look, I told my best friend Ned, and by extension he might have told his girlfriend. I told the girl I like. I told MJ. Because, you know, he had also told Beck about MJ when he trusted him. And then it turns out Nick Fury isn't Nick Fury at all, and it's Quentin Beck, and he starts, you know, going towards him, and he's like, I'm gonna kill you, Spider-Man. And Peter's backing away. And of course, by that point, it seems to be mostly reality. Like, if you look at Beck, it's reality, but if you look behind Peter, it's all, you know, the fake stuff. So he goes, he's stepping back, and you know what? He gets hit by a train. And he's like, oh, well, Spider-Man's dead. Now, time to go kill the only people who know I'm actually a villain, so then I can become the new Iron Man to go one-up Tony Stark. Except Peter, bloody and battered, crawls from, like, under the train, gets into a train car, and passes out, only to wake up arrested. Although that is also some Spider-Man style stuff, to make the villain believe you are dead. Not purposely, but because, honestly, you are in no condition to fight anyone.
You gotta give that wheelman props. Manhattan rush hour is no joke.
But, yeah, he gets arrested, and he's in the Netherlands, and everyone is so nice. Like, his suit was mainly wrecked, and they gave him some some shirt from somewhere. He's like, sorry, you looked cold. Like, yeah. He's like, where am I? He's like, I'm in the Netherlands. He's like, you're in the Netherlands. Like, I'm in the Netherlands. How'd I end up in the Netherlands? You know, because of the train that hit you, you moron. Mom, I'm recording. I'm not hungry right now, okay? So, yeah, he got hit by the train, and he's moderately okay. About as okay as you can be when you're a boy running around with spider powers and getting hit by trains. You know? So, yeah, he escapes from prison with ease, like you do. And it's the Netherlands, so I'm sure the prison there would actually be really nice, because I heard there's some really nice prisons in other countries that are more about rehabilitation rather than punishment. And if they work, cool. If they don't work, well, that's kind of a lot of tax dollars down the drain, wouldn't it? No, I mean, I'd like some prison reformations. It seems to be more based off of how long can we hold people for every little infraction and make the most tax dollars off of. It ain't right. But, yeah, he escapes. He calls Happy because some kind person in, I think, a marketplace gave him a cell phone. He's like, dude, get a Quinjet. I gotta get out of here. So he does. They go in, like, a field, and the Quinjet comes down, and Pete's all like, Happy, I screwed up. I trusted a guy I shouldn't have, and, you know, it's bad. It's really bad. Like, I messed up in Homecoming with all that stuff, but this is a whole new level of Peter screwing the pooch. Like, how? I mean, Mr. Stark gave me the glasses, and now that means Mysterio now has all the stuff the glasses does. For God's sakes, man, I almost killed, like, my romantic rival because of this drone and me not knowing how to use them. Beck seems to know how to use them. He's got killer drones on his side. What do I do? And he's like, you know, Tony couldn't live up to being Tony Stark. And honestly, yeah, I believe it. Like, look, he portrayed himself as a larger-than-life figure, and you can see it throughout the movie with all the Iron Man art everywhere. Because everyone remembers him as, I guess, the hero that killed Thanos. Still haven't seen Endgame yet. But, yeah. That's kind of something, though. Because, like, if you look at it, he's very human. Look at him. His human decisions of being a tech giant, screwed over Adrian Toomes, screwed over, you know, Mysterio and all that good stuff. In other words, it had not worked out, like, perfectly. Like, he wasn't this larger-than-life guy. He was just a guy, a drunk in an iron suit, who was just doing the best he could. And Happy's like, no one can live up to Tony Stark, so don't do it like Tony Stark. Do it like you. Also, I think your package is probably somewhere in Prague, and, well, I guess you need a new suit. So Peter starts going and designing a new suit, and there's a few references. There's, like, some more classic Spider-Man suits. There's a comic book version of the Iron Spider suit I wish we got in Infinity War. Like, I love the one we got, but still, I'm a stickler for the comics. So then Peter creates this fine suit. This beautiful suit. I'm thinking, oh, that's awesome. So Peter needs Happy to go save his friends, because he knows they're in danger, especially since Beck knows vaguely who they are. I mean, I'm pretty sure all he got was names. Maybe. I don't know, maybe when the bit in Venice, I can't remember, I'm sure maybe when they were in Venice, Peter probably did a number to save them. You know, except kind of sort of not. Or, you know, getting hit in the head with a bell a few times. Maybe he was hallucinating half of this. So Pete goes in and, you know, drops to the plane, flying right into the storm. He's like, oh god. He's like, this is a mistake.
What's up?
It's just an illusion. It's just an illusion. It's all fake. He goes, it's like, oh, thank god it is all fake. Like, I was about to go probably get severely mutilated by lightning and wind and rain, whatever else is in that demonic thunderstorm.
While we get everything ready.
But while that storm's happening, Mysterio is flying around.
Hey, there's my favorite aunt.
Well, actually on some glass
What a nice surprise.
bridge on top of
Yeah, sure.
London Bridge, I think. If
there
that's
are some
even
heavy
London
notes.
Bridge, I'm pretty sure it has a completely different name.
Yet. I mean,
He is just there watching the chaos while having the drones pretend to be Mysterio, and Nick Fury's there, and he's going to try to kill Nick Fury, but Spider-Man stops that, and then goes in to start webbing up these drones.
Are you in
And as
trouble?
they're losing drones and the illusion's fading,
No, I mean,
Beck's
I'm
thinking,
a little
oh
behind on my
crap,
rent, but-
Parker's
no,
alive.
I'm fine.
Girl problems again.
And the illusion fades
That's
away,
great.
like
I still
completely.
wish
Like
you
you
and
can
Aunt
see
Vicky
it
worked
breaking
things
down
out.
like
She's
it
a
were a
great girl.
simulation.
The
Which we'll
two
come
of
back
you
later
makes a
to.
beautiful baby.
So,
Peter,
the illusion might have broken away, but there's still a whole bunch
is
of
it?
killer drones on the loose, and a few of them are chasing after,
you can tell me.
you know, Peter's friends. So, Happy goes and finds him. It's like, I'm with Spider-Man. It's like, you work for
helping me through
Spider-Man? No,
college, and
I
working
do not
here.
work for him. I'm with him.
Sacrificing
You're in
so
danger,
much
and
asking for nothing.
you're a friend of yours said for me to save
wish there
you,
were
so
more
we're gonna
people
get on
who
this
feel
Quinjet. The drones
Right.
destroy the Quinjet. Okay, we're gonna run this way.
5 years ago, you walked in here.
So I
and
can't
told
say
me
they
you were
went into
inspired
London
by-
Tower, but they go somewhere with all a bunch of weapons and
Voicemail from
knight
Mary.
armors,
Should check it
all that
outside.
good old-fashioned weapons, and they are going to use them as a last-ditch effort to save themselves because these killer drones are going to rip them apart with bullets. Yeah, and how do you explain the random dead teenagers, Beck, that were seemingly killed with bullets? And while that's happening, and they've locked themselves in a safe and the drones are cutting through, Peter's trying unsuccessfully to destroy these drones. And by unsuccessfully, I mean he's taking out a few, getting hit and getting kind of banged up. And at one point, I'm pretty sure he falls into the water and Beck thinks he's killed him, only for him to get back up. That and he's having trouble getting up through the glass because there's a whole bunch of drones swarming there. Because there's like 1,000 drones or so. Like 30% of them are swarming the top part of the bridge,
Sounds fun.
keeping Peter from getting to back, and then the rest are, you know, trying to kill Peter. So Peter takes them all out, and I think he does, like, I don't remember how he gets up there. I think it involves destroying a whole bunch of drones and making, like, one group of drones collide with the other. But he gets up there, breaks through the glass, lands on the ceiling, and then grabs Beck from by the collar while hanging upside down. Is like, your reign of terror is over. And he's like, I don't think so, Pete. And, you know, the drones start attacking again. Or it's like, give me the glasses. Yeah, at first it's like, give me the glasses. And like, he's giving them up. And then, while that's happening, it turns out that Beck's an illusion, and the real Beck was about to go kill Peter, but Peter grabbed him right as he fired the bullet, you know, thus making him miss. Because Peter still got the Peter tingle. I mean, spider sense.
Stop wondering.
It's like, now that is some Spider-Man style stuff if I ever saw
So
it.
many times I would have fallen
Which
apart
makes
if
me
not for you.
wonder, geez, if the movie gets this right, how come he was killed so easily and Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe? Like, I'm sorry, like, everyone likes to say it, those whoever killed the Marvel Universe books are great. But the only ones the only one I really get is Punisher. Because, like, the Punisher would be the guy to plan around things. I mean, sure, the way he killed Wolverine is something that's happened to Wolverine he's survived from, but him catching Spider-Man off guard with an explosion and then blowing his brains out makes a bit more sense than Spider-Man having a gun put up to his head and his brains blown out when this guy can dodge that and can dodge machine gun fire at close range. Except in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 video game, it looks really stupid when he does that. So yeah, I think Peter, like, breaks his wrist or something and he's like, you know, Beck, I made a mistake trusting you. You're a real scum human being and I hate you. Yeah. But also, Beck tries to get him with another drone and gets shot. And then Peter, now having the Edith glasses, tells the drones to go away, and I guess they retreat back to the Stark satellite. Or maybe he told them all to self-destruct or something. I don't quite remember. But in that time in between then, he had talked to Beck, and Beck is, you know, bleeding out, like you do when you get shot, like, with a machine gun round from a damn flying drone. Which, how come these drones look nothing like real-life drones? Because Tony Stark's tech is that advanced. I hope he hasn't been selling them to foreign governments again, or else we're all screwed. So, he has the Edith glasses, and you know Beck's a master of illusion. He goes to Edith glasses, and he's like, tell me he's actually dead. Right? And he's like, yeah, he is. There's no illusions here. All those projections and drones, they're all gone. He's dead.
Would you look at that?
Peter's like kind of upset about that. almost in a way of, no, you're wrong. You had everything I wanted. You were everything I wanted to be, and you just threw it all away.
She's never admitted.
Something like that. You know how it is when you're one of those evil villains and you're fighting Spider-Man. So Peter gets down from the bridge, MJ shows up, they'd taken care of the drones by destroying them with these old-fashioned weapons, so sometimes maybe the old beats the new. Maybe all these reboots of classic franchises just suck, because no one puts any care into them. Come on, Hollywood, hire me. I might not agree with every one of your political beliefs, but I could at least tell a good original story, I swear. I almost went to a writer's conference in Boston because of a school assignment where I had to write an original epic. Teacher said, take as long as you want. It was 14 pages. I can do this. Then I can flesh it out and make it into a full-length thing. Maybe I ought to make it an independent comic and hope for the best. Since everything's always comic-based. Yeah, that'll be my plan. And I shall never tell anyone these plans for these epics except people who already know and will not capitalize them because they do not have the effort.
There's someone else here. They must have taken it.
But yeah, so Peter goes down from the bridge, he meets up with MJ, they embrace, they kiss, they're like, when we get back to America, you want to go out? Brad previously was kind of, I wouldn't say written out, but he's like, hey guys, you notice how it's suspicious that Peter disappears, staying with relatives in Germany and all this? It's like, look, I have a photo. I mean, I don't know what happened to him. I have a photo of him with his pants down with a girl, and they're like, ew, what is wrong with you? And rightfully so. He's like, no, wait, I didn't mean it like that. I mean, and even the African-American teacher is like, dude, I'm trying to be a cool guy here, but no, that is messed up. Don't do that. Okay. I'm pressing it. There we go, finally. So Brad's just kind of done from that point on, so you don't need to worry about that. But I'm guessing, and yeah, and that's another thing. She's the one who. No, it wasn't like I had this photo. He's like, well, isn't it weird that Peter keeps doing this? And he's like, isn't it weird that you have a photo of him with his pants down? You damn creep! I can't believe I ever fell for you.
From above.
I should have kept up with Spider-Man boy this whole time because I might have suspected he was Spider-Man since Homecoming. Wait, actually, that was funny. She's like, I know you're Spider-Man because of this. He's like, yeah, you're right, I am Spider-Man, but I gotta go tell Nick Fury about this. Like, you know, I wasn't really sure. I was only like 70% sure. It's like, then why else were you following me? Because I kind of like you. You know, and that shy, awkward, I'm like, that... Oh, wait, is that guy in this room? Ooh, Uh-oh. I might have messed up. Oh, well. But yeah, so he gets to go out with the girl. And, you know, he has one of those Spider-Man-style monologues, except it's turned on its head because... Instead, he's actually talking to Aunt May and Happy. He's like, so, and it's like, and maybe it's time for some honesty. Are you two dating? Aunt May says no, but Happy says yes. And he's all like, wait, why is like, you were like my summer crush. Like, I will value the time we had together, but like, it was just like a brief thing. You know how it is. Oh yeah, and when Aunt May picks Peter up from the airport. Her license plate is like Amazing Fantasy issue 15. It's a reference or something, because you know there's a lot of those, and that's not the video I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do a review where, in essence, I've just talked about the plot for an hour and things I've liked and made some jokes. So, you know, Peter goes home, he swings with MJ, and he's swinging through New York, not Queens, but like, you know, New York proper. It's great. But MJ's freaking out and scared. He's like, I never really want to do that again. And he's like, okay.
At least
then Peter goes on a perch point.
Oh, I think this is yours.
Yeah. Thanks.
And there's a TV screen. It's a major bulletin, like a big thing. It's a big jumbotron. And it's a special news announcement from the Daily Bugle, from the late Quentin Beck.
Let me explain.
And J.K. Simmons is there as J. Jonah Jameson. Sure, he's bald now. I really think they should have given him that old flat-top wig or something. I don't know. I'm not opposed to a bald Jameson. I used to watch the 70s live-action Spider-Man, for God's sake. So he's like, there's from this special news bulletin from a real hero, not that Spider-Man is. And Quentin Beck's like, guys, Spider-Man, he's injured me, he shot me.
Like to get a jump
yeah, because that makes sense. He's gonna kill me. He says there can only be one new Iron Man.
You'll have to come back tomorrow.
He's done all this fake stuff. I managed to send that big storm back to my dimension. Okay, yeah,
Hey,
I'd almost be
Craig?
inclined to believe that
No,
with all
sorry,
the technological
looks like we're
stuff,
gonna have to run
looking
something
stuff, but
else
I don't know.
for the cover.
As I said, it
I don't
looks to me
know,
like a projection's failing.
Maybe the expressionist
That's exactly
piece?
what it looks like. So I'm almost thinking, guys, you can't be this dumb to fall for
I
it,
think I
right?
can make today work.
Right?
Are you sure?
But then
No,
there's
no, no,
another
present.
thing. He was like, I know who he is. I know his name. His
Craig?
name is Peter
Never
Parker.
mind.
So Peter Parker is outed as Spider-Man.
Let's get started.
And Peter was like, holy shit. And then, you know, credits.
Look around and familiarize yourself with the items. I'll be waiting
And
by the bathroom
it's-
statue when you're ready.
All in all, it was a great movie, and we're not quite done talking about it because the other end credit scene, because I'm pretty sure that was an end credit scene, or like a mid credit scene. The other thing is,
Just cut Peter open like a
it's
pork
revealed that
sausage
Maria
like this
Hill
the first time they
and
fought. Pete got
Nick
away,
Fury
collapsed in my yard.
were Skrulls, Talos,
Aquaria.
and I can't remember the other one's name, but I'm guessing they're there from the Captain Marvel movie I didn't watch because, you know, I've heard it was pretty bad.
I can't get over
and we're
this
just
image.
really,
So
really,
much
really
tension
average,
between
and
these
I'm
two
not
figures.
rich. I don't have time to be spending money on movies I don't want to go
Let me know when
see.
you're ready to begin.
Sounds good.
Nope, that's not it. How do I equip the camera in this Here we go. Yeah.
Starting with the prize, a one-of-a-kind Kakemon.
Now wait, can you put your arm there again? It would
It's
look great
unfinished?
if you're like showing off the art
Mr.
piece.
Fisk
Stop
has
moving. Look, man, I'm
exceptional
trying to get a.
you
Sorry, look,
know
lady,
him
I'm trying to get a good
before his
photo
arrest?
for the
In a
Daily Bugle here. You
professional
mind?
contest. I have
God.
many of his sales. Let's move on.
So,
please.
yeah. Then it also turns out that the real Nick Fury has been on the Skrull ship enjoying a nice vacation. I mean, fair enough. He was snapped out of existence, I'm sure. Maybe he needs a vacation,
Now
too.
this exquisite piece
But
exemplifies
unlike...
the
You're
traditional
technically like, Nick
Galactic
Fury is kind of a
Honey
dick.
Bottle
You're like,
Two Neo
I get to have a
Stars.
vacation, Parker,
see why
but
his
you,
life
I'm going to
is
hijack your
definitely
vacation and you're going to help us do this
You
thing.
love the duality.
Understand?
Destruction screams, but creation
So now
thrives in
Peter
silence.
Parker is outed
Was
as
there
Spider-Man.
anything irregular
So thus,
in any of
everyone's
the
talking
sales you
about,
handled
hey,
today?
why don't we have Kraven the Hunter be the guy who's going to
No,
hunt him
of
down?
course not.
And maybe
Not that I was
introduce
aware of.
Daredevil into the MCU? Well, I got an idea. This is my idea for a said sequel,
Notice
incorporating
the
a lot of those
intricate gold inlay
ideas.
on this ceremonial tea set.
It's just a friend in the DA's office mentioned
This
that
includes
our sales
Kraven
to
and
Wonder
also a
Story.
Sinister Six, and maybe even introducing Norman
Sure, I
Osborn. Is it
wouldn't
going to be a
want to
cluttered
know
mess?
that.
Probably.
Oh, I
That's why
know.
this is more
I
of a
was just
limited
wondering, now
series,
that he's arrested,
rather than like
if
kind
you
of like how
ever
the
noticed
video
anything
games have like more
strange.
time and more
You know
flesh
what?
out more stuff
actually running
in the movie
short.
game and have more
Why don't we
villains.
grab the
It's going to be
cover
that,
while we can?
but I hope the same basic
told
plot
my
point
DA
is there.
friend I was doing
Thus,
a
we
piece on
have
you. He
Spider-Man
mentioned
Can't
your
Go
name was
Home
familiar.
/ Spider-Man
Just the
Open
photo,
Season.
please.
I'm still working
Stand
with the
right there.
title. Oh,
Are
sorry.
you
Here we
sure
go.
there's nothing you'd like to say, maybe off the record?
The movie starts
regarding
with
Fisk's
Peter,
activities?
like, literally
I don't
being
think your readers
pursued
would have
by
any
a
interest.
helicopter, getting shot at, police helicopter.
Damn it. Wait here, please.
And he's trying to call Happy. And he eventually reaches him and is like, Happy, you gotta help me out here. He's like, you gotta issue a statement, man. A
Craig,
statement saying, like, all this stuff, bad stuff about Quentin Beck, and that Peter Parker and Spider-Man are two
think
different
it's time
people.
for you to go.
It's like, well, I could, but, like, what's up? It's like, didn't you see the Daily Bugle? I don't watch the Bugle.
Follow me.
Or read the paper.
Thank you. This
It's like, wait, didn't you
This
used
is
to
a
work for that guy?
really lovely
Happy?
space.
Everyone knows I'm Spider-Man,
This will be the last
and,
time you see
you know,
me.
I'm
The
kind of
ladies
getting
around the
shot at
corner.
here. You gotta help me, dude.
Of course.
He's like, all right, kid, I can help you. So, he'll issue that statement, and then maybe it could be a breaking news thing on Rifle Media. And maybe we could do like a Dark Knight Returns thing where the media actually plays a big part in the story.
Hello, Craig. Funny you should call.
So,
Because the reporter you sent
like,
is
then the city
clearly
can
not
be
working the
divided
path
on, like,
we agreed
some people
upon.
are just kind of, whatever.
No,
I
she's
mean,
here
it's
now.
a kid. And then there's, like, people like Matt Murdock, who's like, this kid's probably innocent, even though he knows he's probably actually Spider-Man. He's like, this kid,
a huge
like,
story.
guilty
What do you mean
until
he
proven
actually
innocent is not the way in this country.
If she's
And
not
this
gonna
kid
be
is
there,
innocent until proven guilty. That's how you're supposed to prove he's Spider-Man. So
Who
Matt
is in my
Murdock would come to
auction
his
house?
defense if he were to get arrested as Peter Parker, which maybe could happen halfway through the movie.
No, I
well,
do not
/
trust you to
series,
fix this.
as I'm going over basic plot
Well,
points.
the first thing I'm going to
But
do is have this
Kraven the Hunter
investigative journalist
is going to be
arrested.
trying to hunt down Spider-Man.
And the second
like
thing
you
I'm going
do,
to do is cut
because,
off your head, Craig.
It's Kraven. It's kind of what he does. I don't know if he should be from Wakanda, or honestly, I'd rather have him be Russian, like in the comics.
Pete told me about this.
Either one, it's kind of...
Fisk used it to
Oh,
hide
of course,
things.
ISIS.
Why didn't
Either
the
one is
cops
just
take it?
irrelevant. I mean, it's irrelevant either way, because it's not really where Kraven comes from that matters in this story. More that he's one of the top people hunting Spider-Man. But there's also...
He's holding
The
something.
thing is, Happy's a little busy, because, and he can't really help out much, because he's trying to fight a hostile takeover from a guy who's already bought up half of Tony Stark's assets to create Osborn Industries. Yeah, that's right. I'm talking Norman Osborn. And he has like
Statue
some
can move.
old Iron Man armor that he
Most
spray paints to be the
common
Iron
pose,
Patriot.
latent power.
And him,
Mouth closed,
Kraven,
left arm down,
a scientist who's
right
been
palm
out
facing forward.
since like Peter Parker being Spider-Man, like maybe it could be one of the first things, it would be a bit of a retcon, one of the first heroic acts he really did that was kind of mainstream-ish, was stop some scientist from blowing himself up, but said scientist has been in a coma all this time and has his metal arms fused to him. Yeah, I'm setting up a Sinister Six here. Okay. And by setting up, I mean a lot of them already have things that, and there's a new Mysterio running around. But is he new, or is he actually Quentin Beck? I don't know. If I ever actually make this thing, come find out. But he's in more of the comic book style costume. So he looks like he's a cheap knockoff just a little bit.
The catalog mentioned 2 poses. Mouth closed, left arm down, right palm facing forward. Nice. So close. But a piece
So,
is
yeah.
I've seen these
Actually, let's
before.
talk about that, because that's going to be really cool. Also, I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be a reference to a pumpkin bomb. Let's be real here. So, yeah. It gets the ball rolling and all for Peter to be innocent. And, you know, there also might be a brief court scene where Peter, like, you know, they're saying maybe he isn't Spider-Man. But now, there still is the thing, like, half the people believe that. The other half think somebody's covering for him. Nick Fury is able to get his red and blue suit back, but there's also a lot of people who believe Spider-Man's okay, and then there's a lot who believe Spider-Man's a menace. And the city's kind of divided on that. Although there is a police chief who believes Spider-Man's a hero, and his daughter goes to the school now because she's like, you know, their age after that 5-year gap.
In there.
Miss Gwen Stacy. Yeah, I'm trying to do a lot here, aren't I? And she also seems to have a crush on Peter Parker because she has a crush on Spider-Man and believes that they are the same person. Because Spider-Man saved her once when she was, you know, younger, because that's what heroes do. That's how you do it. You save people. And sometimes the people you save like you, and then other times the people you save despise you.
Listen, whoever
It is how it is.
I'll never get
But in like the first scenes after Peter's in this suit, it gets kind of messed up from running away from the police and getting shot at.
You hide back there.
Perhaps
I
maybe
take out
he
the
should
bad
even
guys.
get hit
You
by
make
one
a
of
break
those
when it's
bullets,
clear.
and maybe
Sounds like a plan.
Wasp helps him, like in the Ultimate Comics.
Good
But
to see
at first he goes home,
you
but then
too.
sees that Aunt May's
Not
talking
exactly
to the
how I pictured us
police.
meeting again, though.
Funny.
And maybe they'll be like, maybe we ought to just wait here and
Exactly
keep you
how I
under
pictured
house arrest for aiding and abetting a felon. And maybe that's when Peter Parker should turn himself in.
Did she change
Similar
her
to Chip
perfume?
Zdarsky's
Focus,
Spider-Man
Pete,
when
focus.
the Gray Hand were going after Aunt May.
Yes. All right. Of course.
You know?
Clear these guys out before I push forward.
Not at all what I went to do. So Pete is in quite the bind. And you know, we have Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock defending him. Yes, I do want it to be the Netflix
do.
Daredevil,
How about that file? What's in it that these
because
guys
I'm still
want?
pretty sure it's a part of the MCU. But Peter Parker gets like a dose of reality, because while being Spider-Man, maybe he ought to fight alongside Daredevil, just taking care of some random crimes, and maybe even somewhere in this encounter the Punisher,
Not much.
and learn some different points of view
need to
on,
get
you
you in
know,
that
being the
file
quote-unquote
hang tight.
good guy, and how it isn't always, you know, it's not always through rose-tinted glasses. Like, yeah, everyone loves the Avengers and Captain America, but we're like the heroes who go down and fight the real street-level problems. And you know what?
There we go.
Oh, it's not fun. It's not something we love doing. It's something we have to do because we can, but honestly, my life would be so much better without it. Like, that sort of thing. Oh, shit. Gotta stay silent. Actually, I'm kind of glad this was recorded, because that is quite the fuck up.
MJ.
It's kind of funny. Dr. Peter's proven innocent, but the jury's still out on Spider-Man, and you know, as I said, most people don't believe it.
Stop!
No.
So Spider-Man, you know, is still doing his hero thing, but also getting pursued by the police. And these 6 individuals were going after him to fight him, which consist of Iron Patriot, you know, as I mentioned, Dr. Octopus, Norman Osborn, well, yeah, I already mentioned Iron Patriot. Kraven the Hunter, who's going to be the main one. In fact, while Peter's getting chased by the police, maybe he's the one who, you know, actually, maybe it should be him who wounds him. Like, he kind of drops from a helicopter, maybe they're like, who the hell is that? And he beats up Spider-Man something fierce. Like, Peter does well, but, you know, this guy wielding semi-futuristic spears from Wakanda still whoops his, you know, ass. Actually, maybe that's the thing. Maybe he could be from Russia, was, like, hunting in Africa, got the crap kicked out of him somewhere, or got, like, almost maimed by an animal, and then some woman from Wakanda, who could even be Calypso, helped them, and then trained them in the ways of using his, like, their weapons. Their futuristic, old-fashioned weapons, because up to that point, maybe he was using guns and, you know, things modern hunters would use. Yeah, actually, I'm coming up with it. That's a great idea. Okay, I'm keeping Kraven being Russian just for that. Because that would be awesome.
Daily cardio? Check.
So, yeah, Peter's getting pursued by these guys, and at some point he's going to encounter them a few times, and Iron Patriot almost, you know, beats him. But Peter is also, you know, having the worst time ever, because he can barely go see MJ or his friends without putting them in danger. You know, even if the city doesn't believe he's Spider-Man, there still are those that do, including the Iron Patriot and, you know, the Super Six. The thing is, they also have Michael Keaton's Vulture and also Scorpion, because they've been released from prison, and now Norman Osborn went to finding them, because originally he was just going to assemble this shady group of villains to kill Spider-Man, because Spider-Man stands in his way of taking over Stark Industries and such, but now that Spider-Man's outed as a menace, we could play up the hero angle and get the public's approval. That and the,
like the last 6 months never
the old
happened.
Mysterio, maybe it ought to be played up the mystery, like, maybe he says that, yeah, I got all of Mysterio's stuff. Me and him worked very closely. It's like one might say I'm his protege. Maybe even some people should speculate that he's Quentin Beck of this reality. So let's see, we've got Scorpion, Iron Patriot, Kraven, Vulture, Doc Ock, and New Mysterio. So that's our Sinister Six. No, the Iron Patriot isn't going to be on the Sinister Six, so maybe we'll replace that with Shocker, because Shocker plays a part.
No idea, but
Then maybe it should be like these 6 wackadoos that people know are villains that might be endorsed by Norman Osborn, might not be.
Well, yeah, well, I
The thing is, Shocker and Vulture go to attack Aunt May, because after Peter Parker's been going to school for a little while, it's like the weekend or something, no one's seen him since. Or maybe if all this is happening during the summer, you know, he hasn't been home after being cleared of being Spider-Man, you know, after being in holding and this thing being looked more deeply into. Thanks, Matt Murdock. So he's going off and being Spider-Man when Shocker and Vulture go to attack his aunt, and like Shocker should maybe like almost try to kill her because she doesn't say anything, and Vulture stops him, and he's like, "Come on, Toombs, why are you stopping me?" He's like, "Look, man, it's like I know who Spider-Man is, and maybe he won't let on that he knows Spider-Man's Peter Parker." He's like, and even if this were his aunt, I couldn't just let this sort of thing happen because Spider-Man saved my kid. It's like, but he also ruined us both. It's like, think about that for a second. It's like, I couldn't just do this.
Friends. Is that what we are?
It's like, think about it. I could have told Mac who he was. It's like, we gotta stop this mess. Like, seriously.
There's a lot of
It's like, we can kill Spider-Man, sure. But let's not make it any more personal. Peter comes crashing in, kicking Shocker, seeing Vulture in like a more Ultimate Comic style suit, because he got an upgrade thanks to Norman Osborn and Doc Ock. they fight. Yeah, I'm giving you spoilers for something I might make, but at this point I don't care. I'm going off to college, and it might be like another 6 years before that were to come out. So, yeah, they fight.
Talk to you later.
Vulture's like, look, man, it's nothing personal. Maybe even, like, leaves after he's gotten beaten enough and beaten Peter enough, only for Peter to come swinging back in, beating up on Shocker. And maybe he gets knocked into his room. Oh, it's Stanley. I'm gonna stop talking for a second.
Love seeing you two together again. You always were my favorites.
Rest in peace, Stan. Alright. So Peter gets knocked into his room, and the iron spider suit flows onto him, similar to like how the symbiote would, because I'm pretty sure that suit's all nanites. On top of his wrecked classic suit. No, maybe he shouldn't be in the classic suit. Maybe he should be in this suit, which is still correct. But then Shocker is blasting him with upgraded gauntlets that don't just use electricity if you're using like sonic vibrations, like in the comics. So it blasts off his, you know, his normal suit. No, not his normal suit, his Iron Spider suit, and thus further wrecks the Far From Home tech suit. And then gets blasted right out of the window, only for him to shoot a web, swing back in, beat up Shocker, web him up, and then leave him for the police. That Aunt May's injured and is in a coma, and gets carted off into an ambulance. Only for Shocker to fully admit what he did in attacking this woman, trying to get information about Parker, who he still believes is Spider-Man. And, you know, they arrest him and all. And they also know he's, like, a convicted felon. But they're also like, geez, even if he is supposed to be the good guys, you can't just go beating up on really hot, middle-aged Italian women in their apartments like you do.
Peter, I just want to make sure
I
you
don't
haven't
do.
left any equipment you built for your
But you know what I mean.
around the lab.
And Peter
It's
is
no
like
bother to me,
pissed.
but if the Grant Committee stops by again,
Hey, actually, maybe
worry,
he should have
Doc.
been.
I make a
like,
point not to leave
no,
anything
never mind.
there.
The suit
But I
part
know
here
my
doesn't
friend
matter.
appreciates
I'll
you
flesh
looking out
that out
for him.
later.
There's
The
a
suit
lot
is
of people
wearing.
who don't like him.
All I can say is, with this suit being wrecked, and Nick Fury giving him this classic suit, he maybe finds a way to call Nick Fury and is all like, I want another black suit. It's like, I want to make a statement. So it cuts to a montage of him in like a Night Monkey suit, but maybe with like a white spider logo on it. Of him just beating up on criminals and doing that sort of thing. Leaving them kind of bloody and broken, webbed to places for the police to get them, but like Peter at that point is just so pissed and out of it. After maybe a scene of him like crying and thinking about Uncle Ben. Maybe that should be another thing. Maybe he finds his, you know, old DIY suit, and maybe he thinks about like, well, how do I say, the past. Like maybe even a collage where we actually get to see somebody as Uncle Ben, preferably Tobey Maguire. Like maybe similar to how the CGI Amazing Spider-Man fan film did. He like told Uncle Ben about his powers before then. He's like, you know, I want to use this to capitalize on it. I'm gonna go do that thing. I'm gonna go fight some MMA fighter. It's like, think about it. I could be really cool. I could be more beloved than, I don't really watch MMA. I'm just gonna say a random name that comes to mind. Ronda Rousey! Okay, that might have been a bad one to choose. I'm sorry. I mean, she's kind of very arrogant. Why can't she be cool like Katie Holmes? Okay, that's not important. The important thing is he's like, okay, Peter, but if you're gonna do that, you better tone it down a notch. You got an unfair advantage. Don't you know with great power comes great responsibility? Yeah, he's gonna lay that moral on him. It's like, maybe you shouldn't do this whole fighting thing. But with these powers, you could do something maybe no one else could. And then, like, Peter, like, kinda... It's like, alright, Uncle Ben, sure. Does his thing anyway. Beats up the fighter or wrestler or whatever. And then Uncle Ben, you know, gets shot. And that should all be told in, like, some elaborate flashback. Only for Peter to throw, like, his classic red and blue suit. Because he's, like, looking at the mask at that point. He throws it. He feels like he's unworthy of these powers and of this mantle of being Spider-Man after this. Because not only did he fail Uncle Ben, he failed Tony Stark. He might have saved the woman he loved and saved his friends. But he failed Aunt May. And one of the reasons why he decided to use Spider-Man for good was to make sure no one, you know, went through losing somebody because to make up for what his original sin of not saving Uncle Ben. But when he died in the Ultimate Comics, he was at peace because he did save Aunt May. At this point, he failed to do that, so Peter is broken and angry. And, like, all of his friends are worried about him. Or maybe he ought to wear, like, the DIY suit from Homecoming to kind of be, like, the Last Stand Spider-Man suit. I don't know, I like the black suit better for that sort of thing. But, like, Ned is calling him up. MJ is calling him up. Being like, Peter, come on. What's the matter? Actually, maybe to suit the mood. I kind of want to be in this suit to get blasted by Shocker. And... because I'm talking about it. Vaguely. So then, like, you know, he does go to MJ and maybe takes off his mask and is just, you know, there's tears stream down his eyes and she holds him. And it's just, that scene kind of just ends like that, only to cut to, like, Norman Osborn and the rest of the Sinister Six doing shady stuff. And maybe Norman's like, we need something. Spider-Man's been kind of hard to get. He's been playing hard to get, dare I say. Otto, is that a joke? That should be like maybe his first and only joke. Because he's been kind of devoid of humor since the accident and, you know, being in a coma. He's like, Otto, did you just make a joke? It might be my one and only. It's like, don't worry, guys. I'll come up with something. It's like, what? Scorpion's like, you want me to go do some evil stuff or something? Because I don't really feel like going back to prison anytime soon. Don't worry. I have a much better plan.
This fight's going viral.
Oh yeah, and also something I would like to have is Harry Osborn be there. He's kind of like the same age group as Gwen, maybe. And maybe also Liz got snapped away, so she's like her same age, and that'll come back in Spider-Man 4. But that's not important. So, like, Harry's there, and he's also Pete's best friend because Norman wants to keep an eye on Peter. You know, almost like a Red Mist kick-ass thing, except he actually wants to be... Oh, wait, no. Well, in the movie, Red Mist wanted to actually be Kick-Ass's friend. In the comics, not so much. But, like, he doesn't think Peter's Spider-Man and thinks that all this stuff is taking his toll on his newfound best friend. But maybe since Peter does also sometimes, like, go to school, or if this is going to take place during the summer, he might not hang out with his friends, but, like, Harry still calls him because he's also working. Because with it being people, like, you know, knowing that he's not Spider-Man, possibly, maybe he should go back to his old job of taking photos at the Bugle. Like, kind of like when Daredevil in the Man Without Fear storyline, if I'm remembering correct. No, not the Man Without Fear, that's his origin. Like, the one where, God, it's a famous storyline by Frank Miller, and I'm forgetting the name. Or Reborn? God damn it. I'm gonna shoot myself for this later. You know, the one where Kingpin, like, publicly outs him as Daredevil or whatever, and his life gets terrible. Like, there's some good things happen, like, you know, we can say that maybe you're not, so there's no jail time, but there's always gonna be this stigma about you being him. Thanks, Ben Urich. Oh yeah, and Ben Urich's still dead, so we can't have a relationship with him and, you know, Spider-Man. Although, maybe if the next movie I can make it all about hobgoblins, which is really Norman covering his ass. Oh yeah, that's the thing. Norman's backup plan here, it isn't a hobgoblin, it's for him to become the Green Goblin. Just to be, in essence, a terrorist, bombing things just for wanton destruction, just to get the attention of Spider-Man. And on his first outing, Peter's taking photos of something, he's with MJ and runs into Gwen. Because I guess he's taking photos of something that happened in, like, Times Square, and then that's when the Goblin happens to show up. Because why not attack Times Square? Because, you know, there's eyes everywhere, and cameras and everything. So Peter runs into a building and gets Gwen and MJ to safety, then runs out. Like, maybe on, like, a balcony of some building, and is trying to get photos of this Green Menace, and Scorpion's play fighting, and he's like, what the? That looks so fake. It looks choreographed. Which is also kind of funny because, like, some of the fights in, like, you know, the Spider-Man movies, like, they most certainly seem like things aren't going as planned. Like, the choreography's in the way of, it's kind of messy. Just to me, maybe. That's just me. This is coming from a guy who's never taken any film classes, trying to describe this. God, it's unprofessional. Remind me to take some directing classes if I'm ever supposed to direct in Hollywood.
like zero personality.
But
your suit is awesome.
yeah.
Can we talk design details?
So Peter runs in. He's about to go put on his suit.
Maybe later.
Because maybe he packed one. But then his classic suit, either being piloted by a robot or the suit's AI can do that because Happy had a few modifications after they found it in Prague.
Did you learn anything about his motive?
Or, you know, it's a Skrull.
Plus,
Either way, Peter Parker gets a photo of Spider-Man, and live on TV, with the Daily Bugle and everything, gets saved by Spider-Man.
That might be the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
Only for the suit to either shut off or the Skrull to get out of it, and Peter Parker taking the reins of the suit
I got some free time.
to go stop Scorpion and Green Goblin, because he might have clashed with the Scorpion before and gotten his ass beat as well. Maybe like maybe after turning himself in, like sometime really short after in fighting crime with Daredevil, he encounters Scorpion and Kraven, and they just wail on him.
What do I owe you?
And Kraven's like, I want to prove myself to be the best hunter. So I'm going to hunt Spider-Man. But of course, I also have the guise of, oh, he's a criminal. I'm going to bring him to justice by any means necessary. And Captain George Stacy should maybe even say he's opposed to all this. All these people running around. Like in the case of Spider-Man's innocent, we're just going to allow a bunch of criminals to go run around and try to kill him. I'm tired of the lawlessness here in New York. Like, Spider-Man is at the very least wanted for questioning, so there's like a no-mask policy until all this is wrapped up. So, of course, you know, we've got, like, Daredevil and Punisher still doing their thing and also getting... Okay, maybe not Daredevil so much because the public still trusts him, and he's back in his normal suit because the police captain... I can't remember his name. I can never remember names. I am so bad. The one who knows that he was the real Daredevil and not Point Dexter gives him his suit back because there was an evidence lockup, and maybe Bullseye could make a cameo, but maybe in an MCU Daredevil movie that follows the continuity of the show, that should happen. Yeah, actually, come to think of it, I feel like Spider-Man's one of those characters who needed a Netflix series as well. Like, I'd love to see some live-action movies with Spider-Man and Daredevil, but I'd also rather see them in TV shows because there is so much lore and character building.
Where'd she find it?
And it works better in like an episodic series rather than a movie, you know? Yeah, that's another thing. Like, throw all of this and Peter feeling like he failed because, you know, Aunt May's in the hospital and all this. There maybe should be some serious character building of him gonna do better and not be such a klutz.
My father.
It's like, you think Uncle Ben would have approved of this?
When I was young.
And actually, maybe he should like get his ass beat by Green Goblin and Scorpion. Like, maybe he should end up beating them.
Peter.
That an Iron Patriot showing up in as just a suit of armor. Maybe Peter destroys it, revealing there's no person inside, and maybe shouts out, "Hey, does anyone find it suspicious how Norman Osborn isn't here?" And the minute that I showed up, Green Goblin and Scorpion stopped fake fighting and are now after me.
Why take the risk?
Oh, yeah, and maybe at some point he ought to pack Flash's life somewhere while he's being an edgy teenager, crawling in my skin.
Hey.
Like you do.
The symbol inside the mask means demon.
So Peter, you know, after getting the crap kicked out of him, maybe he should go to MJ and collapse.
Do you think Mr. Lee knows
Like,
more
his
than
suit
he's
is
letting
mostly
on?
fine, but
No, I
the
think he just
getting
had a
hit
weird
by that
flashback
metal
or
scorpion
something.
tail so
I know
many
his childhood was
times
pretty
hurts.
traumatic.
Like, he passes out, but then Maria Hill shows up.
Huh? Catchy name.
And, you know, heals him and
gotta
also
get writing.
teaches MJ
See you
what to
soon.
do, because if you're a part of this whole Spider-Man friend squad and he came to you first, rather than a hospital or something, you're going to need to know what to do next time. So yeah, so now MJ knows some basic medical stuff, maybe a bit more than basic, and can heal Peter when he gets wounded for the video game. That could be a mechanic. Just kidding. Maybe. But Peter puts the black suit back on and goes to go, you know, do his thing. Because maybe he ought to beat it out of the Scorpion that the people responsible for this are having a meeting on a boat. The thing is, that's actually a ploy.
Got some time to kill before Doc needs me at the lab.
Just to
Do a
get his
little fighting work
attention.
out in the city.
The thing is, the boat does contain some people. Like, the Green Goblin shows up and starts bombing it. Oh yeah, that, and there's like a whole Spidey hit squad along with these 6 cretins running around. That Norman Osborn is also funding. Because Norman Osborn is, let me use some Great Gatsby terms, he comes from old money, but now he's trying to expand it and make his own new money. Like, the Osborn name is just rich because, I don't know, maybe
Some of his wisdom right about
started
it.
off as like a family of bootleggers or something, and now here he is trying to make a legitimate business for himself by buying up Tony Stark's assets and making his own tech company. Which maybe could have been happening, like, in the 5-year gap in Infinity War. And Infinity War and Endgame, which I still haven't seen, so I don't know how big of a part Stark Industries itself plays in, you know, I know, it's really bad for me to know what happens, but I've never actually seen the movie yet.
Baby steps. I hope I didn't upset Mr. Lee.
He's just concerned.
Okay, what do I need to do? Okay.
I knew he liked you. He admires how dedicated you are to helping others. I think you remind him of himself when he was younger. Both orphans, both so smart.
Well, the admiration's mutual.
So Pete is, you know, dealing with his own problems and going on this boat. He takes out all the goons and stuff, and, you know, Green Goblin starts blowing it up. But maybe secretly disgraced Navy man, Maury Bench, is there. He's like, wait a minute, people thought you were that water guy. He's like, yeah, well, I kind of just faked my death so then I can go, you know,
Oh, hey,
make a lot more money working for Osborn. Points gun at Peter's head.
I totally forgot. I mean,
And it's like, I'll make even more when I'm the guy who brings in Spider-Man. Peter's eyes squint angrily. He grabs Bench's wrist and twists it, breaking it. And as he's screaming in pain, that's when the Goblin should show up. And he's like, Bench, you're a failure. Throws some kind of pumpkin bomb that causes Bench's skin to start melting. And, you know, Peter tries to grab him, but he runs off of the boat into the water. And Peter starts beating up on the Green Goblin, really pissed-like. Only for him to unmask him and find out that he's Norman Osborn. And then maybe also he kicks the crap out of him and vice versa, and then he tells Osborn to... Like, almost like the fight between Styx and Daredevil, where, like, Daredevil gets his ass beat and so does Styx. They agree to leave each other alone for now. That is until Peter, not so subtly, tells Harry what his father's been doing and how he never really wants to speak to him again. And it should suck because, like, Harry is like kind of the rich kid that everyone kind of hates because, rich white people. And Pete's like the only guy who gives him a chance because Peter knows what it's like to be rejected and hated. And also Flash should be either fanboying over him or hating him, and then that's why he should pack Flash's life. Or maybe he should just pack Flash's life because he's fanboying over him and he's like, I'm not Spider-Man, could you please shut up? But yeah, like, Harry is actually really upset by this because it's like his only real friend. Or maybe it's because Peter's like a real friend and not just a friend that, like, you have because your rich father knows another person with a kid your age. Or, you know, your fake friends you have when you're rich because you're rich. Why are all these so many X number of people to a wall? Come on. It's been the same thing with every one of these. Ah, that's 2 for the price of 1.
Excuse me.
So yeah, Peter goes in the black suit. It's kind of wrecked, but not the worst. But we still have some more villains to face. That maybe the new Mysterio is also fucked with him in some ways. Maybe this new Mysterio actually knows about Uncle Ben and had used that in some illusion, which then made Peter further doubt himself. Only for him to, you know, beat up Mysterio, and Mysterio runs off, but eventually he does find them because Norman Osborn maybe even tells him where to find him, because the plan's falling through. It's like, I'm not going to be the one to get fingered for this boy, but I will tell you, someone somewhere would like to see you at such and such warehouse, and he catches Mysterio off guard, except this Mysterio has more text that, like, it's not a bunch of holograms, it's a guy using practical effects and holograms to do this. Like, he'll be the guy physically in the suit on a misty cloud, but that misty cloud is really like rocket boots or something with a smoke machine built into the suit. Like, he's actually there. Except, you know, Spider-Man beats him, and he's like, why won't you get out of my life? And like, you and Beck, punching him in the gut. You planned this. You've ruined my life. You've ruined everything. And, like, throws him around. And when he breaks the helmet, finally, because it's been getting more and more cracked out the fight, maybe he sees it is Beck, and he's like, I should have known. I was like, is Quentin Beck even your real name? I should have known you faked your death. It's like, yeah, there are many, many ways to fake one's death practically.
Like
even fool some computer software.
You think of what you want it to do?
Ever heard of the Hindu act of slow breathing? I don't know if that's a real thing. I just remember that from Batman the Brave and the Bold. Either way, maybe he should, like, at some point throughout the fight, hit some buttons, forcing him to live stream the show. Yes. But then maybe he tells Beck to tell the truth while beating him.
Hey,
and he's
what
all
do you
like,
think you're doing?
Then he, like, maybe he ought to destroy the screen before shouting that Spider-Man's here and he's gonna kill me. You know, similar to how, like, that one cop was, like, told by Daredevil to shut up and to tell him everything is fine, but then, you know, said, officer down and all that. Only for, like, when he destroys the screen, the thing's still broadcasting the audio and people are still listening. Like people who watch my streams right after they're finished. Like no one does.
Norman, what do you think you're doing?
So, Spider-Man gets cleared because he's like, yeah, I did ruin your life, Spidey. Because I also assume throughout the fight he should have been calling him Peter, and Peter should get more pissed, and he just doesn't want Peter to beat him to death from calling him Peter, so he's not calling him Peter. It's like I framed Parker.
Thank you for your great
He's like, yeah, I framed you and all that.
These folks will
and you ruined Peter Parker's life. Yes, and I ruined the life of Peter Parker. Sue me. It's not gonna matter.
This isn't about
if I beat you, I'll bring you in. But if you beat me, everyone will know you're just a menace. Like, I wouldn't bet on that, Beck. And what makes you say that?
Secure environment.
Maybe he plays back the clip on his cell phone. Because it's like a YouTube recording or something. Or like on Twitch or some live. Or maybe it's just a hacked broadcast and he has Happy recording it. Or Ned being the guy in the chair.
Hey, Peter.
Only for him to send him that audio clip back. He's like, no. Then Peter destroys like the computer completely so it won't broadcast
you can start that business
at all. He's like, now let's start this little song and dance of ours again, shall we? It's like, I knew I should have killed you, Parker. It's like, you're a good kid. I just wanted to be like after like he beats him. Similar like how a fight would end with Mr. Negative or literally any villain in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 game. They have a bit of a talk. He's like, I just wanted to be something more. Tony Stark stole my everything. I used it to make barf. He called it barf, Peter. My life's work. Everything. Gone. He's like, Tony Stark might not have been perfect, especially not when it came to things like that.
I could do something to
but he was
Doc.
a genuine hero, and he's still more of a man than you ever were.
To talk to his dad. No.
And he's like, oh, is that so, Peter?
Even tried to kill funding for his research station.
He's like, well, what do you think your Uncle Ben would say about you loving Iron Man so much? I always had a love for Iron Man.
One of those stations is nearby.
That's why Uncle Ben maybe wanted me to be a hero like Spider-Man.
Harry left me a message about these.
Not just some greedy guy with powers.
Pete, hey, I need a favor. My mom's pet
shoots web at him and webs him up like you, Beck. The police storm in. Oh yeah, and maybe at this point he should have changed costumes because his black suit's kind of wrecked to go into the classic suit. Like the classic red and blue that I'd like to change to invoke this, but I can't. It's a cutscene. And I can't skip it.
As long as they're here, it's like a part of my mom is
too. So then, you know, Peter gets shot by the police, similar to Amazing Spider-Man 2. Let's be real here. He gets shot in the leg, shoots a web on it, and, you know, or maybe his arm. Like, either way, he gets shot, because Spider-Man gets shot in the comics sometimes and makes web bandages. But he's not done yet. That and maybe also like Amazing Spider-Man 1. Did I say 2 the first time? Captain Stacy's like, hold your fire. Except this time when the guy shoots him, he chastises him. He's like, you idiots. Like, didn't you hear this? Like, actually, at first, maybe they should be going in there.
That's a keeper.
Captain Stacy reluctantly to go arrest Spider-Man, but then maybe he gets, like, a text about the broadcast from Gwen and actually listens to it on the way there, and he's like, oh, crap. I gotta go stop the SWAT team. Because they're, like, swarming around. And, like, throughout the fight with Mysterio, maybe you can even see, like, police helicopters shining lights in, and they're just coming. And maybe MJ should even, like, attempt to call Peter because she is worried, because she knows Peter's there.
But one of the guards just walked up to his cell and released him, then gave him
so yeah, like Peter's wounded and he's swinging throughout the city. Some police helicopters still, you know, chasing after him because they didn't get the memo because their comms are also down. because Norman Osborn hacked them. Because after Harry told, like, you know what? I have enough money. I'm taking some of your money. I'm finding my own place. I want to have nothing to do with you.
Okay, I'll see what I can get.
He like leaves, and that pisses Norman off, and he's gonna invoke his own horrible revenge. That, and maybe on the way there, a wounded Spider-Man encounters Kraven one last time. And they fight, except this time Peter trusts his gut, doesn't rely on his technology, doesn't rely on Tony Stark, relies on his own brains and his fists like Uncle Ben taught him to. 'Cause maybe Uncle Ben also had taught him how to fight, basically, in case he gets bullied like that, but he's like, maybe he should have blown off those lessons, like, Uncle Ben, no one bullies people with fists anymore, it's all about name-calling and trying to one-up each other. But, like, that's the thing, he's not relying on the tech, he's not relying on his, you know, his, like, wit or anything, but he just wins the fight by being the better fighter. And maybe when he beats up Kraven, throws him into a wall and webs him up there, he kind of severely beat the crap out of him. He's like, leave New York and never come back, because if I ever see you again, I'm just going to let it all out. You're going to get the spider, the animal, like you wanted. Except he's like, fine, I won't come back. But then as he leaves, he's like, oh, Spider, that is exactly what I wanted to hear. So Spider-Man in his fancy red and blue duds goes and finds an old abandoned Stark warehouse to confront Dr. Octopus, who maybe he had like one brief interaction with, like he was used as a ploy to fight them. It's like, and yeah, and maybe he should have mentioned like some shady master planner throughout all of this that isn't Norman Osborn. This master plan has plans that are going against Osborn's plan, but he doesn't know about him. But Osborn also thought he was being outwitted, which is why he told them maybe where he could find said master planner, but instead found Mysterio, which made him think he was the master planner. And maybe Peter should call him a master planner, and like Mysterio should be like, what are you talking about? Because when he found out that when Osborn found out that Octavius was going against the plan, Dr. Octavius, hopefully being played by Mark Hamill, that'd be awesome. Well, he was all like, you know what? If he's not going to follow the plan, he's going to try to betray me and do this, I'm going to get him. So I'm going to send Spider-Man after him. And eventually Spider-Man does go after him. But first all he finds is kind of a fat guy, a fat-ish guy, who looks like Luke Skywalker. Maybe you should mention, you look a lot like Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. Wasn't exactly a big fan of that movie.
Remember our first fight? Me so young and stupid? You just stupid.
Yeah, it would be kind of funny because he's a Star Wars fan of this.
Well, that's a matter of opinion.
Thanks to Uncle Ben being a fan of these old 80s movies. Oh, crap, I need to throw something at him, don't I? And of course, there's nothing around to throw in a radius where I can reach it. Wonderful, wonderful. Now there is something, though. Ouch. So they fight, and maybe it should be a fight that's, you know, pretty good, with him dodging tentacles and also them trading blow for blow, and Peter also getting pretty messed up in this fight, but also dealing a decent amount of damage to Otto, and of course the police show up again, because that's kind of what they do. And he's like, ah, wonderful, the police never, it's like, who says there's never a cop when you need one? It's like, you're going to die here, Parker. So guess I'm not dumb enough to fall for your ploy. I am well aware of who you are. Only for him, you know, they fight some more, and Peter does end up winning by electrocuting him.
People don't use banks anymore.
And it knocks him out. And maybe and also maybe Doc Ock hasn't slept throughout this whole time because he's kind of terrified of sleeping and being unconscious because of him being in a coma for so long. But as he's going out, he's like, no, the darkness, please, don't. Passes out.
Tell me who you're working for. I can help you cut a deal. If I talk, I'm dead. They made that very clear.
Then maybe, I don't know, I want to have it almost, like maybe the fight should conclude on a building. No, maybe he shouldn't get electrocuted. Maybe that should weaken him, but then he's like, not really drunken, but stumbling around and still fighting Spider-Man, and it gets to the rooftop. The police attempt to maybe shoot at him, and like, you know, Doc Ock. And Spider-Man knocks him out of the way, and maybe knocks him into a wall. And as he gets knocked into a wall, the tentacle swings, flying, hitting George Stacy. Just kidding. No, it hits Spider-Man. and he falls into, like, the bay. But Doc Ock's down for the count. And seemingly Spider-Man is possibly dead. Because he should have been woozy in the fight, too, because he got the crap kicked out of him. Only for the next scene to be MJ in, like, her bedroom in an apartment or house, or I don't really know where she lives in the MCU. And similar to the broadcast in Spider-Man Unlimited, talking about how the masked vigilante known as Spider-Man, it's like some people remember him fondly, some people remember him as the villain. It's like we have Quentin back here, real name, whatever. I don't remember if it was actually mentioned in Far From Home. We have that. It's like, and it's mentioned that, you know, all this was a lie, and we all have proof that Spider-Man was a hero. J. Jonah Jameson should even be like, I'm terribly sorry. It's like, and here I am, it's like, and I'm really hoping that he really isn't Peter Parker, because not only did I hire him back, but if that's the case, then I just, like, maybe he shouldn't say this on the air, but maybe cry about it to Robbie, because that would mean I just killed a kid. An innocent kid. And, you know, the reason why he hates people in masks is because of what happened to his wife. Like, that could be pretty cool. It's like, oh my god, like, stricken with grief over this. But, you know, the broadcast picks up in Mary Jane's apartment room where she's like, I really hope it's true this time. Only for her to move and the camera to pan and it shows Peter Parker covered in, like, his torso and, like, bicep, right bicep, left forearm in a cast. Covered in bandages mostly. Asleep in her bed, and maybe he should say, hey MJ, you get the number for that tentacle that hit me? And making a joke when he wakes up to prove, hey, I'm still okay, moderately. Also, Scorpion should not have been arrested. He should have ran off, like maybe the cops tried to. Well, that's the thing, like, when Peter wakes up, maybe he should have, like, a talk with MJ about, like, I don't know if I should continue this anymore, considering all this crap and all this stuff, how I let everybody down, and Aunt May's in the hospital, and look at this.
Guys with masks?
He's like, you know, Peter Parker has done some good, and he's done some bad, and Spider-Man's done the same, and, you know something, I'll flesh out the dialogue much later, when I actually write a damn script, and hopefully have a female voice actor, because I really not want to do my worst Zendaya impression, or my best for that matter. But maybe Peter goes and sees Aunt May in the hospital, and maybe she should even talk about how Uncle Ben wouldn't want you to quit doing this.
1034, officers are taking fire from demons. Officers near Bowery, please.
As I say, it's like, Uncle Ben was a lot like his brother, your father. As I say, they weren't one to just sit there and let their friends or anyone just get picked on by some bullies. I suppose that's why maybe everyone loved them. Yeah, because maybe Uncle Ben and Richard Parker might have been kind of dorky, but they were also not exactly the dorks who are defenseless nerds. Like, maybe the kind who might be really smart, kind of good-looking, and will kick your ass. Want to see a cheap way to achieve these here aerial combos?
Great news. Hope this plan works.
This also helps. No, it doesn't. Okay, let's see if I can get one, and then I'll go out trying to get the other.
Hey, so I looked at the reports of
Okay, now let's try to get the other one.
You'd come around.
Pretty busy tonight, hitting a lot of properties.
They're going after Fisk? Damn. You thinking what I'm thinking?
So yeah, Peter, like, after hearing this, maybe he also has, like, the news is on, and she's like he's looking out the window, maybe thinking about it for a second, and she's like, Peter? Like, the news is on, and Scorpion is terrorizing, like, Washington Heights or something, yelling for Spider-Man to come face him, and she's like, please, be careful, I don't want to lose my nephew. Or maybe she should say, I don't want to lose my baby boy. He's like, what? He's like, what? It's like, I raised you like a son, Peter. I think I have the right to call you my baby boy. Like, when she says it like that, it could almost be a pseudo-reference to Trouble, where in that weird universe, it was revealed that Aunt May was Peter Parker's biological mom. Oh, that would be a really bad reference. I love it. But I do hate Trouble. Come on. Why? Why did that comic exist? This was your attempt at bringing back romance comics? Seriously? But whatever, so Peter, since the red and blue tech suit is damaged and Happy's probably gonna go repair it, or maybe he should have made, like, a backup costume throughout this, or it's a new one where it's just, like, all spandex and maybe resembles the Spider-Man PS4 suit, hint hint, nudge nudge.
Madison, proceed to the crime scene.
Demons robbing an armored car. Heart to heart time. You're not loved enough.
Either that, or maybe he just throws on this old suit. That's, you know, like, I mean, I get the suit in Civil War is a different suit, kind of, sort of, but, like, it's still, like, the same basic idea. Maybe, like, a concept sketch that Uncle Ben maybe came up with for him. When he, you know, told him about the spider powers and all that. Oh, wow.
Demons aren't just a street gang.
So he puts on this old suit. He starts swinging, like you do in a cool swinging scene. It lasts like a whole minute, only for it to cut to like Scorpion and him doing a swinging kick right about to hit him, and then credits. And maybe the end credit scene is actually just the whole fight. Which ends with Spider-Man maybe, and this is kind of a reference to the Amazing Spider-Man 2, like, Scorpion maybe ought to say something, and he's like, hey, why don't you feel the sting of this, Scorpion? What? Just throws a manhole cover at the side of his head, knocks him out. Okay, if I can get 2 swing kicks. Okay, that messed up the combo. Alright, trying to do the right amount of swing kicks it is. Yeah, he should beat up Scorpion by the end of it. I think that should be the end credit scene. Come on. Yes! So that means I only gotta get that... Oh wait, there's still more guys here. Oh, I only really need one of them. No, come on, come on. Oh, he's out. Crap. Well, that messed up my combo. Oh well, at least I got one other thing so I can get 2 of those tokens. So yeah, that's my idea for Spider-Man Far From Home sequel. Yeah, sorry I made you stick around to all that. Yeah. So all in all, because I don't think I said this before I started going off about this sequel, I think Spider-Man Far From Perfect is a pretty solid movie. And a better Spider-Man movie than Homecoming, because there actually seems to be themes of responsibility and guilt and all that. I do wish there was more reference to Uncle Ben, because he doesn't seem all that important in this universe as High Top Films created. Either that or Peter's too grief-stricken about Uncle Ben and tries not to think about it, which... I don't know, it's sad, but it's also a valid coping mechanism. I remember when I lost an uncle when I was really young, I didn't want to believe he was dead. For a little while, maybe longer than I should. But yeah, great movie, great effects for the most part, a great story, great suits, great acting mostly, and a pretty halfway decent Spider-Man movie, if you will. Well, anyway, that's my review, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you stuck around to the end, I wish there was some kind of cameo I could put here, but yeah, there it is. I guess have a good day, everyone. Sorry it took this long.